Grand Rising, Grand Rising.
Hello, Cleopadra Sophia the Bodhi.
How you doing?
Doing great.
I see we're going to talk about time today. I think this is a good interruption.
Yeah, so before we start talking about time, there is this. I'd like you to read this tweet about this system in Italy took the kids of this family.
Oh Lord.
Horrible situation, like just insane. And um I can't handle it. Like I'm not letting this go. There's something is going on with Italy. And we've talked about this in terms of like just the state trying to have control over the kids, the state trying to interfere with family affairs. And I think this is like a perfect example of massive overreach by the state to take away two healthy young kids from their parents. Um, so just wanted to kind of put that in the back of your mind because I'm coming after Italy now. And I hope that they do give back the kids to the family, but like this is just not acceptable. Like this is just not.
The crazy thing is, okay, so like people, well, it's funny because they're from the UK, so that's one like whole aspect of it. It's not like they came from America because in the UK and well, not anymore, but the UK and Italy both used to be in the EU. And so they all had the same rules. But now that the UK is not in the EU, they don't have the same rules, which means that it's like a foreigner going into another country, even though they're all there together. And this is an issue just in general. If you say, like, even here in America, if you say, I'm not really with this whole system thing. Like, I don't want to be bothered with these people. And you're in a blue state, they will take your children. Like, this is one of the reasons why I had to move because in Maryland, if something had happened, and oh, my kids are not up to date on their shots, there's no like, you can't go to the doctor. The doctor won't see you in the state of Maryland. And so if you don't want to be involved with that stuff, um, you literally have to leave because if there's some kind of emergency or something like that, it could be that the hospital won't see you. Like my daughter over the summer, she got like some kind of bug or something, like something, and she had to go to the hospital. And I told them, don't take her to the hospital in Maryland. Y'all got to take her to the hospital in Virginia because in Virginia, they don't like children had to be vaccinated in order to be seen by a doctor. In Maryland, they do. In Virginia, they don't. So I told them, you guys got to Virginia because they might not see her in Maryland because she's not current on her shots. Because in Florida, you can get an exemption, but that exemption don't cross state lines. It doesn't work like that. And so this is a problem in America too. It's just that in America, it's less likely to happen because somebody doing that would not live in one of those places. They would live somewhere else. But it's very, very dangerous. And it's funny because my daughter, my oldest daughter, actually lived in Italy for 3 or 4 months with my sister when she was in the military and stationed in Italy. So it's a very like beautiful place, but you cannot go to these foreign countries. Take, your belief like think it's going to work out because that's not how it works in other countries. And so all these people always complaining about America, America this, America that. Like you can't get away with any of this stuff in America. I mean, in what you can get away with in America, you cannot get away with in foreign countries. Like they just live like Amish people. Like that would be no issue here. Like we have a word for it, but you notice they don't have a word for that over there. And so they don't have a way to describe that. There's no one defending those people. So this is, that's a terrible story. Like, it's absolutely awful. But in any given moment in a blue state, this same thing can happen to you. Especially ones where they have these weird rules, like California and Maryland. They have these weird rules about like vaccinations, because really probably the issue was the vaccinations, and the fact they didn't have a primary care doctor. And I was just telling somebody, I don't trust those people. I'm not taking my kids to those people. If there's an emergency, we go to the emergency room. But going to see someone every year for them to tell me everything's okay or not, I can see with my own two eyes if something's wrong. I don't need that.
Yeah, it's
And I
very
refuse to engage in that kind of nonsense. So
it's very
yeah, it's really
performative.
bad.
It's very
We
performative,
definitely need to put some energy behind that.
this
I agree.
this whole like pediatrician, and like the last few times I haven't gone to the pediatrician in years now, because it was such a joke every time that I
Oh, hello.
hello
Can you?
can you hear me now? Hello?
I can't hear you. So I'm
Hello?
okay. I'm going to exit out and come right back because it's probably me. All right.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
All right. I can hear you now.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so usually what works is I just close the app, like X out of it, and then it allows me to reconnect back to the space, which is great because in the past, if you like close your app, the spaces is done. The spaces is over.
What is
But
going on here? Let me get off the Wi-Fi too.
you can't hear
That
me?
could be. It's like, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
What are these people doing? Okay, let me try that again. Now that I'm off the Wi-Fi.
Can you hear me now? Are you able to hear me now?
It definitely is me.
You think it's the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it was the Wi-Fi because it
Mm.
kept cycling on and off. It's so weird. Yeah, it's definitely me. Yeah, we definitely got to go after these people. Anybody should be able to live whatever kind of life they want. I don't understand why that's so difficult.
Yeah, and the issue is like it's like having a fucking heart. Like
Right?
people just these slaves, these drones to the system just have no heart.
No, they
And like
don't.
that just cannot stand. And I agree with you in terms of like the medical system in the US is just an absolute shit show. These pediatricians, as I said before, are just performative. Like they don't it's every time the last few years that I went, and I haven't, as I said, I haven't gone in a while, but it was it was just BS. It was just BS. Any issues that I might have had, not that I had any, but it was like they were looking at the computer.
Yep.
Whatever issues there were, it's just what does the computer say? And nowadays it's probably going to be what does the AI say? Like I can do
Yeah,
that
they
myself.
use
I
Chat
can figure
GPT.
that out myself. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I think with, and you know, obviously there's a lot of crazy things happening in this reality. But something
Right.
about this story, you know, I don't really care. I don't really care about the kids. I mean, obviously, I feel bad for them, but I don't really care about the kids. I don't care about the parents. But something about this story hit me heavy. And it's like, I can't let this continue to happen. So I'm going to make an example out of Italy. Now, if they're smart, within the next week, they're going to give the kids back to the parents. But if they don't, there's going to be hell and fire on Italy. And that's going to seep into all these other countries, because like this whole system of trying to like oh, you know, they're not slaves to our system, therefore we have to take the kids from them. Like, that just does not, that cannot stand. That is being destroyed. And it seems like
Right.
Italy is the one that's going to get the brunt of the attack initially. um, but that was
But
just
they
something
all
that,
do this. They definitely all do this. Like, this is
yeah. And
not
who
an
better,
isolated incident.
and who better than to start with Italy, especially with, you know, with the whole,
Right.
the Etruscan culture. Like, there's you know,
Right.
we've been talking a lot about Italy. And um you know, it's like the something about Italy, something about Italy
Yeah.
is has
Yeah.
come up now, where like, how can this beautiful, powerful country that birthed the Etruscans, or at least, you know, allowed the Etruscans to flourish, allowed Rome to flourish. I mean, obviously, you know, you got the Vatican, which is just a whole other operation in and of itself, but like, Italy got to get its shit together. And this I think
Well,
is a
it's
great
ran by a
sign of the
mob.
systematic failures that have allowed to run rampant.
Well, it's ran by the mob. So, like I said, my sister was stationed in Italy for 2 years, and she experienced some of the most insane things that I have ever heard of. So, like, for example, the military people out there, like, once you it's kind of, I don't know how to describe this. Once you get out there, right, you buy like a little beat up car. They call them beaters. And you can't keep anything on the car that makes it look like you're an American or you're in the military. Because what'll happen is they break into your car, they steal your gas cards and all kinds of stuff. Like, they'll just constantly break up and break into your car. Or, like, let's say you want to go out somewhere, right? You'll go out to this whatever place this is and you'll pay for parking. And then, like, 5 minutes later, somebody else comes by and they're like, yeah, you got to pay for parking. And you're like, well, I already paid. It's like, no, you didn't. Now you got to pay again. Or, like, if you have a store, like, you have to pay your taxes and stuff like that, then you got to pay for protection. So the gangs come around and say, hey, you owe us. And you're like, wait a minute, I already paid my taxes. No, 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 you owe us. So then they have to pay again. It's very corrupt. Very, very corrupt. It's insane. I was like, what? If they try to do some of that stuff, I mean, I guess that's what these, like, Tren de Agua and all these people were doing here. But, like, if that was like a regular thing, like, built into the culture where, yeah, you pay the government, but then you got to turn around and pay a gang to protect you, if that was built into the culture, America would, I mean, it would be a huge problem. So this is the kind of stuff that, like, unless you spend a lot of time in the country, you don't know this stuff is going on. I wouldn't have believed her. If she wasn't there for 2 years, I would not have believed her. Because I was like, there's no way. Like, this is real, what you talking about. But actually, it was. Like, this is the kind of stuff that was going on. And so if you can speak English, you can get a pretty decent job, or you can, like, get out of the country and go somewhere else. But, like, if you're just a regular person walking around in Italy, like, no, you're basically stuck there. And they basically, like, tell you what you're gonna do. Like, you cannot just do whatever you want. That's why I'm like, people are leaving America. I just saw a report. Okay, two things. I just saw a report where it said middle class Americans are leaving America for Europe. And I'm like, good luck. You guys are crazy. Like, all right. And then the second thing is the Department of Education declassified. I mean, it brought down to less than professional level. Let me find that tweet, and I'll send it to you. A bunch of like, a bunch of careers. And I said, I actually made a comment on it. I was like, oh, so now these people are like us, you know, because I have an advanced degree. Here it is. It doesn't matter because I don't have the advanced degree that they think is okay. Okay, here we go. The list of degrees that the Department of Education will reclassify and no longer consider professional degrees: education, nursing, social work, public health, physician assistant, occupational therapy, physical therapy, audiology, speech language pathology, business masters, engineering masters, counseling and therapy degrees. Let me send you this tweet. So it's like, oh, so now all the people who think they're so much better than everyone else, now they're going to be considered normies like the rest of us. Like, that's amazing, because these education people, especially, and these, you know, nursing people too, they think they're better than everyone else.
Uh-huh. Yeah, right.
And so now, like, Department of Education, one sweep has said, nah, I don't think so. Meanwhile, my PhD in business is actually going to make me a professional. So the transition is moving on, because I almost have a PhD, not a master's. My master's is long done. So these people with advanced degrees in education, now they're just, that's not a professional degree. It was never a professional degree. It never should have been listed as a professional degree. These people are not, like, I mean, not to go back and cooking elites, but these are pseudo elites in their own mind. Like, oh, especially nurses too. Like, I had a horrible experience with the nurse. Lied to my face and told me, oh, that the child has to get the shot. And I was like, really? Because that's
No
not what
way.
no. Yeah, she lied to me. She
Wow.
lied to me, made me get my oldest daughter get that HPV shot, which I've been trying to detox out of her body and make sure it doesn't cause
Why
long-term
are they
damage.
like
But yeah,
this? What is like, are they just
they get paid. It's money. It's dollars. Who is paying them to do what? Yeah, they get paid. That's why there's so many shots. Because when they give out shots, if 100% of their clients are vaccinated, they get a larger incentive. So it is the doctor's prerogative not to allow any child to come to them and not get the shots.
it's such a it's just crazy. It's just
It's
so
gross.
insane. It's so, yeah, and it's like, and I've been sending energy to the medical system for the last few years to bring it down, but at the same time, like, it's difficult to bring a system down when you don't have the new path. And that's why, in many ways, like, it almost like has to be maintained for at least
Right.
another few years, because, like, where are all the normies gonna go? It's just,
It's definitely
there's
getting broke down. I mean, you see what happened in Minnesota with the whole autism ring they was running. You know,
oh,
they
I
were
haven't heard this.
they were overdiagnosing their children with autism in Minnesota and the Somali
What?
communities, and stealing the money and
Oh,
sending it to
yes.
terrorists
Oh, yeah, right.
in Somalia. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So it is being broke down systematically,
I
which is
mean,
a
are these
very good
people
sign.
gonna get deported? Like, what's going on there?
They need to be deported. See, this is
That's
they
ridiculous.
are they are, because they also found that these people commit huge amounts of immigration fraud. So I think they are going to get deported. I think it's just a process, meaning you have to go through. You can't just take all the people that are Somali in Minnesota and
Yeah.
deport them. Like, you can't do it like that. You got to go person by person. So that is something that they're working on. Same thing with North Carolina. Like, North Carolina is a red state, except they brought in all these illegals and turned it into a blue state. That is the demo. I mean, This
But
has to
what
do
are
with
the
time, though.
Republicans doing? This is what gets me though. It's like it's a red state. What are the red people supposedly, right? The other side, because it makes me think that they're just in the bit in the same team. What are they doing? It's always
They're on the same
yeah,
team.
the whole thing is always like the Republicans, which are just like they have zero backbone, are always like, oh, it's the Democrats. The Democrats are doing this to
No,
us. The Democrats are doing that to us. It's like, guys, you guys have been running that state government in North Carolina all these years, and they're more fixated on gerrymandering, which clearly didn't work, instead of
right,
understanding like why are all these immigrants coming in? And then obviously, as you know, you have all these charity organizations that stand to make
right,
tons of money off of it. But like it's just and this is I think it goes back to and it's very interesting what happened today with Trump meeting Mamdani. And you know,
right.
it's basically it seems like the future of the two parties are like, yeah, we're gonna work together, which gives me the vibes of what's happening in El Salvador, where you have,
Mm,
you know, this president in El Salvador that like came in, completely cleaned up everyone. The whole system was telling him, "No, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to do it wrong."
right,
And El Salvador went from one of the most dangerous countries to go and visit and live in to one of the safest, definitely
right.
one of the safest, if not the safest in Central America. So there's this, and he actually, which is interesting, he calls himself in his bio on Twitter, he calls himself Philosopher King. So you know he
No, he
understand.
doesn't.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Bukele does.
Yes. Yes. Which is crazy because
Wow,
I had in my bio for a long time Philosopher King. I don't know when.
wow.
I don't know when he included his, but a good friend of mine told me like, did you see his bio? I was like, whose bio? I was like, he was like Bukele's bio,
Wow.
and it said
Holy
Philosopher King.
smokes.
Um,
Yeah, they're getting their walking orders from us. They
yeah,
know what they
yes,
get it from us. Like they know like they have to be in this energy in order to get anything done. Like yeah, because I saw the thing with Mandami, and I'm like, of course he would go meet with Trump. What, he don't have a choice. Like what is he gonna do? Like, and that's gonna piss the Democrats off,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
because they don't want cooperation. They actually
Yeah,
want
well,
like
Trump is the devil. He's a fascist. How can you sit with him? How can you sit by him and everything the horrible orange man bad has done?
right.
Well, obviously, a great statesman you got to play the game. And the thing is that
You
the
gotta play the
difference is
game.
the difference now is you're not playing the game to push misalignment anymore. And I
Right,
think Trump was very clear because I saw a lot of the comments that he gave. Trump was very clear about it's about what is best for New York. That's completely different than before. These
right,
parties, they don't give a shit about the city. They care about regaining power. Obviously, as we
right.
talked about before, the Bushes the report about the
All
Bushes
right.
wanting to regain the Republican Party. So you can see how there's like two completely different states of being when it comes to politics right now.
There is.
You got the old elites that they just want control over their party. They don't give a fuck if blue states, red states, they don't care as long as they
They
maintain
don't.
power and control because obviously it's one big party. But then you got the outsiders like Trump and Amdani that clearly have the backing of the people that are saying, we're
Right,
going to work together and we're going to work together to make this place better. Because right now it's in that complete absolute shitter.
right. Right. And that's what this is, what again, more of what they don't want. They don't want people to be like, they don't want politicians to be America first and America only. Or they don't want people to be like this either. Cause like I think MCG said she's not gonna run
Yeah,
again,
uh-huh. I was gonna say
which is
that.
like,
And she
come on,
said,
man.
America first, something like I have basically she said like
Yeah, America first, America
I have to
only.
do it to put America first, which I don't know what she meant by that, but it was basically like she had to step down to put America first. So she about
I
to
know what
go on
she
a
meant by
tirade.
that. Yeah, I know what she meant by that. She meant that if you're actually in politics and you hold one of these positions, you are not allowed to be America first and America only. You have to be beholden to Israel. And you see that what's his name? Huckabee, the ambassador to Israel, he met with a person who is considered now Posobiec of all people is like on this man. He met with a traitor to America, like a person who betrayed America or something like that. And Posobiec is like, no, you can't. I mean, Posobiec of all people, because he's like,
Oh, he
iffy.
annoys me so much.
Yeah,
But,
he's
I'm glad he
annoying.
called him out.
He is like not just calling him out a little bit. He's like, he has to step down. You can't be, yeah, he's the, and it's like once you have somebody like that on your on your
Uh-huh.
hind parts,
Uh-huh.
you're in big trouble. And it's like, wow, like look at what a little bit of feasting and fasting will do. These
Oh
people start
yeah,
acting crazy.
yeah, we're going ham. And it's interesting because in the fast that is being done is like it's I don't have hunger. And when I do have hunger, I eat, but it's very little.
Right,
Like it's my body knows, my body understands,
right,
and it embraces the fast. It's not a struggle, it's not a challenge. It's actually been a very now, granted, obviously, like this type of fast, you're still eating food, but I'm eating much lighter and I'm eating way less, basically just one meal. I'm basically eating one meal, and like throughout the day, like I drink some milk, eat some cheese, but it's very light. But
right. That's
this
good.
Huckabee guy, he's on his knees for Israel. Like I don't
He
know
is.
what is going on with that guy. I mean, obviously,
It's
okay,
these
I get it. You're the ambassador of Israel, but it's like overboard.
No, it's because these Protestants, man, these what I call them Roman Christians, like they are believing that that place over there is the place from the Bible. And literally those people are the same people from the Bible, and they believe their blessings are tied up in Israel being blessed. They just do. And it's like, well, when you find out that is that's not really Israel, like those aren't the people, like there's no convincing them. This is again gets into the Hebrew Israelites. It's like, no, it's not those people over there, it's other people. But then like look at the people you have. So this ties into the North Carolina thing. Why would the GOP in North Carolina allow this to happen? Cheap labor. They don't want, see, because North Carolina has a group of Indians there called the Lumbee Indians, the biggest, one of the, basically the biggest non-black tribe in the country. I mean, uh well, actually, I would say black. It's the biggest black tribe in the country, right? And so they were not allowed to get federal status. They kept like messing with them on the federal level to have their tribe considered as a real like tribe, because there's a process that you go through, which I am going to go through it with my tribe. I don't see no reason to it, but I have all the paperwork so that I can do it. But I just haven't. I don't want to be involved with these people until we need that part. So you can keep that in the back of your mind. Anytime we can go through that process, because I have the paperwork that proves that we meet the qualifications. But so they have this big tribe, the Lumbees, right? They won't give them federal status. They won't recognize them. It's a whole like horrible thing. And so Trump comes in his first term and he's like, yeah, I'm going to recognize you guys. So that was one of the very first executive orders on day one. He was like,
Oh
do what
wow.
it takes to recognize this tribe.
Ah.
Stop effing around with them. And so that's what they did not want that tribe that is predominantly black to be
Mm.
recognized. Now, there's other black tribes. That's not the only one, especially in New York. There's a lot of black tribes, but they don't want to deal with the black tribes in the South, because again, the South, the Black Belt is a different thing. Like you have the Gullah and the Geechee, and even down here you have the Seminoles, but there's other tribes here. So like I think I told you this when I came to Jacksonville. Um, I went to a lot of like sacred sites here. I spent a lot of time in state parks here. And there's one particular state park which has a bunch of black rocks on it, which I really went to. I spent a lot of time with. So after like my first year, I started to feel like, okay, I can start to move around here. Like I had like a level of protection on the land. And so I realized that, and this ties into time, I realized, I think maybe like 6 or 8 months ago, that there was a tribe here called the Timucua tribe, and their leader was a guy called Saturwila, and that's whose protection I had. Saturwila, as in Saturn. So I came to a place where the leader of the tribe was Saturn. Like, holy smokes. And because I was respectful of the land, I didn't come
Wow.
here and immediately try to exploit the land, exploit the people. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
exploit the energy. Because that's what people do. They come to Jacksonville and they're like, okay, we're just going, it has so many resources. Let's just take over. I didn't do that. I mean, when I was going, I was doing a lot of rituals at the time, like, especially in 2022. So I had been here for about a year at that time. So I was doing a lot of rituals. So I was going in the woods and lighting candles and going out there at sunrise, going out there at sunset. And I had done this thing on Thanksgiving, which is crazy. I just remembered in 2022, on Thanksgiving, I took the whole family. We got on I had a van at the time. We got in a van and went to the Black Rock Beach, and I took them all out there at dusk, the whole family. And it was like I was presenting my family again to the nature, to the
Mm.
energy of nature. And we went out there and we took pictures. And it was really, really nice. And I can say the rest of the people in the family have not been the same since. I was fine. The rest of these people, most of them have gone crazy at this point. Like
Who?
they're just now coming. My family, they went crazy, like, because this was a very deep sacred ritual, and like they don't have their lives together. And so
Mm.
it kind of like messed them. Like when you involve yourself in these rituals, I didn't know it was a ritual. I just was like, you guys have to see this.
Yeah,
It's so
right.
cool, you know. And it's like recently, I was like, Dad, I involved them in this ritual. I presented them to the land, and they like freaked out. Like, this not what was supposed to happen. So
Yeah, and none other than Saturn himself. Like Saturn don't mess around.
right, exactly. And so if you don't have your stuff together, then it's going to not be so. And I see now, it's like that. I didn't know that was going to happen, but me, I stood tall. I was like, hey, I'm here. I'm participating in this. I think this stuff is good. And yeah, it's very, very interesting. Like, I haven't taken anybody else back there yet. Like, I had a friend come down here and I was like, let's just go to the beach. Let me not take you to this place so you can go crazy, because I don't know why these people went crazy, but they certainly did. So let's not do this to you. Because Jacksonville has a lot of sacred sites. Did I tell you I found a mound here?
I think so,
I found a
maybe.
mound.
Wow.
Yeah, I found a mound. I haven't been there yet,
Yeah,
but
these mounds
because
are
there's no way to
powerful.
get on it. Yeah, and I'm like, who knew there was a mound in Jacksonville? Like, what in the world? And it's right beside. Okay, this is crazy. It's right beside a country club called Queen's Landing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called Queen's Landing. I'm like, wait a minute. The
Yeah,
country club,
that
because
mound
there's a
is
river.
yours. That mound is for you for sure.
I know. I'm like, I gotta get over. I gotta get into that country club. I was looking at country clubs too, but I had looked at another one. It's a country club and a yacht club, and so I'm like, nope, that's the one that I have to go to. That's the one I have to, because it says Queen's Landing. That's
Uh-huh.
obviously talking about. It's a whole neighborhood surrounding it. It's like what is it's the whole thing is like so crazy. So when you're in alignment with time, right? You're in alignment with time. Things will just come together the way that they're supposed to. And that family, what they're experiencing in Italy is it's pushback. Do you really believe in what you say? Like, and if they can come through this with their belief intact, because all these things are designed to put fear in you. Like, you're supposed to be afraid. And when you're not afraid, when you come out on the other end of these kind of scenarios, not afraid, they don't know how to handle that. So like my son, he was born with a slight hernia. And so when I tried to take him to the doctor, obviously after he was born, no doctors in Maryland would see me. I called a bunch of them because you had to be vaccinated. They would not see you if you weren't vaccinated. And my son was born in Virginia, so he didn't get vaccinated. So I ended up having to, like, after like I was crying my eyes out, I'm like, he needs to go see a doctor because he has this hernia thing. Y'all got to do something about this. Although I put a silver coin on his stomach, and that really help too, because that's all they did was put silver on it. But I ended up going to a pediatrician in Virginia, so I had to drive like an hour and some change to take him to the doctor, so that, and then I had to pay cash out of pocket so that he could be seen because they wouldn't see him. And I had to do that for a few months, and then after that I moved to, I mean, once he was basically healed up, by that time I had moved to Florida, and Florida didn't have those rules. So but he didn't need to be seen anymore because everything had healed up the way it was supposed to. But it was really, like, really, really scary. But that was designed for me to say, you know what, let me just go ahead and get these shots at him because there's no other hope. That's not true. I found another solution. And that's why I always say I'm a refugee here. And I came to Florida with that position. I'm a refugee. I had to, for the protection of my children, leave this place where they were something, something's bound to happen when you're in a place like this. And the first thing they're going to say is where the shot records at. But now, as a Floridian, no, you can't go that route. We have different rules here. Um, and it's just the whole thing is crazy, but it was designed to put fear into me, and it didn't work. So now I don't get involved in none of that stuff. If somebody is sick, I call my sister, I call my friend who worked in the ER. We figure out what to give them. But my kids don't get sick because when we were in Maryland, we were eating fresh vegetables and drinking raw milk and all that stuff, so the kids don't get sick. They don't get sick. And so as long as, I can, like, really get back involved into this raw milk and the cheese, they don't like so much. But I can find a way to make them like it. I just haven't. I'm like, that'll be a project for after this feast thing that's going on. I'll figure out how to make them like it. But if I can get them back into that, I know the likelihood of them actually, being involved in any kind of illness is going to be basically down to zero. Everybody will be getting sick around us, and we won't be getting sick.
Uh-huh.
Like, one thing I noticed with the raw cheese is that normally when Uranus has hard aspects, I like get a really horrible headache. Like, the magnesium in my body just goes, like, it's totally depleted. So I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, my head was hurting really, really bad. So what I did was I had like 4 slices of cheese all together that day. I had a sandwich. I had something else. I just, like, no, I'm not about to take this aspirin right now. And I was able to get through the day without having to take aspirin, which never happens when Uranus is having a harsh aspect. And usually I'm just like in the bed all day, like I can't do anything, and I was able to get through it. So I can say that the raw cheese really does work. The honey, it really does work.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's it's very it's just wild, like how much work has been done to enable an opening for all these raw foods to come about. I mean, it's been years in the making
Right.
and beyond, just not even years in the making. Obviously, it's been even longer, but like where this whole raw space was, especially in the US, let's say 5 to 10 years ago, to where it is now, is night and day. Not, I mean,
Yeah, it's amazing.
the fact that you can order from a farm in Pennsylvania, raw dairy, and get it
Right.
delivered to your house, multiple states away. That was, I don't
Right.
know, I don't know how they're doing that actually. It's, that's
Oh well, it's really cool. It's actually like they have ice packs in the box. If it was like meat, they would have used dry ice because they send you a little thing to tell you. But it would have been dry ice, and the dry ice would have kept it cold. And as long as they deliver it on Monday, if you start out on Monday, you'll get almost anywhere in the country by Friday. And so that's what they have to do. They have to send out their deliveries on Monday so they don't end up stuck in a warehouse or something like that. Those aren't climate controlled overnight. But imagine when Amazon integrates this kind of stuff. This is what we need.
We're getting
Because
there.
then
Yep.
Amazon,
Yep.
yeah, Amazon has the capacity to deliver this stuff like basically within the system.
Yep.
So that's what's needed. Like Amazon needs to be taking on these small farmers and delivering their stuff for them. Like UPS and USPS, those are not like effective.
And
Like we need Amazon.
notice, I don't know if you've seen, because obviously we have different feeds, but there's been an increase, probably maybe the last 2 weeks of which is interesting because this story about the Italian family came from food poisoning. There's been a lot of stories about food poisoning, a lot of
Yeah,
stories
I
about
saw
people
that.
getting sick from raw milk, and so
Yeah, I
there's
saw
and
that.
then even I think like a week ago there was some guy that created a really long thread about how horrible raw milk is. So there currently, again, I mean, and it happens every few months, there is an attempt to push back on the narrative. But if you notice, anytime anyone talks shit about raw milk specifically, because that raw milk is like the harbinger. So, they're not going to
Right,
say, oh, we're against raw cheese or oh, we're against that. No, it's about raw milk because raw milk is the
right,
crux. So
right.
all the comments is for raw milk. Like and this is why I say that the
Wow.
the raw milk lobby is the most powerful lobby in the US right now and will be probably for the foreseeable future because these people once you drink raw milk and realize that you are not dead yet, you're like, "What? What's going on?
Right.
This is such a joke of a system that like scared me into believing that this is going to kill me or this is bad. Now, like you don't play me for a fool. And that's what anybody that tries raw anything actually, but specifically in this case raw dairy, raw milk, like they are like the system played me for a fucking dumbass. You don't do that
Yeah.
to me. You don't try to say, "Oh, you're going to die or this or that and pasteurized milk is better." And then here I am drinking it now and I'm still alive. Like I'm still fine.
Right. Right. It is a very, very insane thing, like the way that they rolled out this whole okay, your grandparents drank it and your great grandparents drank it, but look at how awful they were. Like it's always like look at how awful your ancestors were. You're living
They
better than your
died. They
ancestors.
died
When
at 40.
they t-
They died at 30. People really
Meanwhile,
believe that they died at 30, like that people in the
yeah, it's
past died
it's
at 30.
crazy.
I'm like, how do you
They're
even build a
lying.
society if you're dying at 30?
You
It's
can't.
these
They're
people
lying.
just be repeating shit that they don't even know. Like they don't even know what is up or down. That's why the whole
No, they
idea
don't.
of even when it comes to the raw of like, oh, this is how they ate before. Everyone's like, well, their ancestors they only lived to 40. They only lived to 30, and like as if that's any. It's like young people are getting cancer at insane rates. No, everyone just, oh, we're just going to keep doing chemo. At some point,
Right.
it's like something has to give, and it's getting to a point now because and I think this is why they're trying again. Like they keep trying every few months to attack raw milk, but it only actually empowers it. But they're doing this because they know that the bigger raw milk gets, the less the medical system has a grip, because this is the Amish, kind of what we're talking about with
Right.
the Italy. You were saying like this is like the Amish where Mhm.
I was just gonna say they try to say, oh, they're lying. The Amish aren't really doing that great. This and that. It's like I can see them.
Yeah, they're
Like
like they're
you
all
know we can see them,
autistic.
right? Right.
I think
Exactly.
they're just I
Like
think they're just socially, I think a
and you
lot of
know
them if are just socially maladaptive. Like they're just, they have their own culture, which from the outsider's perspective might look like they're not social, but like I mean, you look at their ability to execute. The Amish, at least when it comes to the construction from what I've seen, very high quality work and they get shit done fast. Fast. You that's very
right.
impressive.
Well, they
Now,
can in
do I
groups
agree
like this
with
whole.
You cut out.
Oh, okay. I can hear. I could, for some reason, yeah, they don't want us talking about this because you kept
Yeah,
going in and
right.
out. I wasn't sure if you could hear me at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
they don't
too.
like
You
these
too.
topics, but they can work in groups. That's all I was gonna. That's all I was gonna say. They
Right. Yep. You're cutting out.
let me move to.
You're back. Yeah, you're
Okay,
back
good.
in.
I'm just saying they work together to accomplish things. So they don't want
Yes,
anybody
right.
working together. That
Mm-hmm.
whole group, you know, capacity, that's what they cut off in 2020 when they did, all of
Mm.
that stuff and told people, oh, no groups, you guys 6 feet apart and all of that. And so they're basing their understanding on, oh, if you're an American, you have to be independent. It's like, no, that's not how any of this works. It's totally outside of how the system works for everybody to just be on their own, working towards their own ends. Like that's just not how it works. It's very it's just weird, man. And I just the more of this stuff I see, the more I use the word weird because it's like, why is
Yes. Mm-hmm.
everybody engaged in such weird behavior? Like, and
Right.
then when you tell them, hey, what you're doing is weird, they're looking at you like you're weird. Like, no, 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 you're weird. Like, don't you
Uh-huh.
see how
Uh-huh.
weird this is? No, 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 it's you. You're the one who's weird. Okay.
Yeah,
All
well,
right.
and they will point to your social proof. Look at where you're at. Look at what's
Mm-hmm.
going on with you. You don't got this. You don't got that because that's the
Right.
only thing that they got. That's the only thing that they
Yes.
got. But what they don't understand is like there is a sacrifice that has to be made to be in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sacrifice that has to be made to not like bend over for the system. Obviously, if you're not bending over for the system's gonna is going to be like, fuck you. Why are you not submitting to me? Why are you not doing this?
Exactly.
And so what's the trend, the shift that's happening now is, it's like in high school where it's like the popular kids are seeing that you're becoming popular, you're becoming cool. People are beginning to, even the popular kids are beginning to find interest in you. And
Mm-hmm.
the system, the high school itself is like, no, no, we don't want this to happen, and so they're sending all these types of propaganda attacks because that's all they got. That's all they got, propaganda.
Right.
That's all literally that's
Right.
the
That's
whole
it.
attack on the raw milk is just it's such bad propaganda. The only ones that fall for it now are the boomers. And even the boomers
Right.
are basically, beginning to be like, they're just the boomers are just very easily scared. That's the boomers are just
Yes.
the
Yes.
boomers. It's every
They
every
are.
time, like so. I was talking to my dad about how much I'm feeding the birds, and like his first thing was scared about, well, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna learn how to like defend themselves? Like, are they, if you're feeding the
What?
birds, like they might not know how to find food because they're gonna get that's so this is like a big thing with the whole idea of why people should not feed birds as much is that, oh, they're gonna get used to you feeding them and they're not gonna know how to fend for themselves and feed themselves, which I think is a preposterous idea. That, it's like if you were feeding me, right? If you're feeding me, you're being generous with me, and I'm just gonna become like inept. Like I'm just inept because someone is providing for me. Like that's not how it works.
It
If
doesn't work like
anything,
that.
right? If anything, it's the opposite. Because you are providing
Yes.
for me, because you are able to nourish me, I now have the ability to expand, to magnify, to
Right.
grow. And I think this is a big reason as to why I feel so called to feed as many animals as possible, because as we raise our consciousness, the consciousness of the animals is raising and is going to raise. Who's going to teach them? Who's going to guide them? Who's going to love them?
Exactly.
Obviously has to, at least I gotta, as always, it comes down to us. We
Right.
can't wait for others to do shit. We can't be like, oh, I hope someone does this and that. No, we gotta lay down the law. Like last night, I put out raw turkey, for the skunks. It's a mom and a baby skunk, and lo and behold, outside I hear some like shrieking. Like there was like some like some like crying or there was like some scuffle happen. I come out and a fox is trying to basically make a move on the skunk, and the skunk is in like a defensive position, moving back, like ready, basically,
Right.
ready to strike with this delicious smell, which
Oh my
which
gosh.
these skunks, like, sure, they're prey, but uh I read that, like, that smell, like, it will incapacitate a fox.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
fox will eat a skunk, but it's not very often that a fox is able to bring down a skunk, only if it's like a baby skunk.
Right.
So I
Right.
come out and instantly I'm whipping the fucking fox energetically. Like, I whip
Right.
that fox into shape to put it into place. So what did I do there? Well, energetically, I am speaking to the animal kingdom and saying, like, I am providing you with nourishment. You have not received this type of nourishment ever. And this is how you're
Right.
going to come at me? This is how you're going to show
Right.
your respect? What did the fox do? Obviously, the fox freaked out. Today, so
Right.
tonight, I'm thinking, well, this probably spooked the skunks because it was the skunk and the baby skunk. The mother rarely brings out the baby. It's very rare occurrences because obviously it's a baby. Um,
All right.
they were out right under my porch. They were fine. They
Right.
were
Because
not
they knew.
spooked. They know that there is a certain level of protection, that even though they encountered a fox yesterday, they okay. They good.
Right. Right.
And this is
And
how we
that's,
teach the animals. This is how we teach
yes.
what this is how we bring order to the animal kingdom, because clearly the animal kingdom is so savage because we became savages.
Right, right. And also what these people do to these animals, like they use a lot of these animals in their witchcraft, their sacrifices and stuff like that. So they've been very brutal to these animals. And so yeah, they have to like understand, like, and think about, we're talking about raw milk. Think about how the companies do these cows
Yeah,
on these
yeah.
milk farms.
Mhm.
They're not treating them well. They're treating them very poorly. Um, uh, that's why you have to like literally like know the farmer, because you have to know if the farmer is abusing these animals. Like, and they do, they treat them very very badly on these big farms. Like, I talking with you about Smithfield? No, I think that was my friend.
No.
So like, okay, Smithfield is located in North Carolina, okay? And so that's another reason why they brought in all these illegals to work at Smithfield.
Right.
And Smithfield is a ham processing company, okay?
Mhm.
Used to be the biggest one in the country. What happened in 2018, 2017, something like that, they sold out to China, the whole company.
Mm.
So now it's a Chinese company. And when I say it, because, I was in transportation, it is the worst place for a trucker to pick up. If you have to pick up from there, you could be waiting 4 days, which, if you know
Mm.
anything about trucking, that is like so much money that's just being lost, because you can't go until you unload or until you load up. You can't just leave. And it could be days, like 4 days before they even get to your truck to load you or unload you. So if you're supposed to like drop off and go, pick up another load, if you have to go to Smithfield, you can forget it. And it wasn't like that before. It only ended up getting like that once the Chinese took over. And that still haven't been resolved. Our meat supply in this country is like, at any moment the whole thing could fall apart. Like, it's like being held together with like tape and popsicle sticks. Like, I don't know how anybody is even getting any food, to be honest. It's very scary. That's why you have to know your local farmer, your farmer's market,
Mhm.
whatever, because if these grocery stores go down, there's not really a lot of other solutions out there for you. It's really weird, actually. But yeah, that Smithfield is horrible. It's horrible. Like, and then the way they treat the animals, no. So I won't even eat like Smithfield meat anymore. If I need bacon, and so I stopped eating bacon for a long time, but now I'll get it from like the fresh market or something like that. I know they're not getting their stuff from Smithfield, but yeah, if you just eat regular bacon, like you thinking, oh, okay, everything is fine. No, it's on sale because it's a problem. And then the audacity for, if you go to the regular grocery store and you try to buy some Smithfield bacon, it's like $12 for a pack. The normies are getting like demolished. $12 for a pound of bacon. $12.
Wow. Well,
For a
the
prepackaged.
good thing is that a byproduct, a benefit of food prices going up is that these types of companies like are not like they're like they're getting
They're
crushed.
losing a
Yes,
lot of money. Yeah.
because basically the high quality foods are now almost coming into parity with these conglomerates. So obviously,
Right.
what are people going to do? Are they going to go to McDonald's, or are they going to go to a nicer, higher end restaurant that basically almost maybe a little bit
Costs the
more
same
expensive,
amount.
yeah, but costs the same, right? So and I think also when it comes to the food thing, which you just mentioned, um, if you eat, like, your body will function very well just eating honey and raw unsalted cheese. That's all you need. Now,
Right.
obviously, is it going to be an enjoy, like, are you going to really enjoy it, and are you going to, because the thing is a big difference when it, like, our food relationship is a very strange one, because we have
It
been
is.
basically taught to enjoy these artificial flavorings, these
Right.
these all these different chemicals, this and that. So when we eat something like honey and cheese, not to say it doesn't taste good, but, like, it doesn't hit like these other
Right.
types of foods. Putting ketchup
Right.
on it, all these different toppings that people be putting on their foods, hot sauce, blah blah blah. Okay, but when it comes to the functioning of the body, if shit was to really hit the fan, and you gotta just fucking pack in, but make sure you're still eating healthy and well, raw unsalted cheese and or raw unsalted butter and honey. That's it. That's all we need. And so and I think what this basically shows is, like, in a situation that would get pretty challenging, um, you buy 5 pounds, 10 pounds of cheese, a good amount of
Right.
honey, and basically, and you can even buy more. But so, and this is where I'm thinking about, like, I gotta buy some sort of, like, dry aging for the cheese, because um eventually, like, basically the environment has to be controlled for the cheese to be able to last for months, for years, because
Right.
if there's too much moisture around the cheese, that's where it starts to get moldy. It's from the
Right.
moisture. Um, so because uh, I'm gonna eventually gonna start, doing like aging the cheese. I think that's a huge business. But regardless of is um, the masses, like, what are they going to eat? Their version of what they're going to
Right.
eat is going to be much lower in terms of quality of food. Now, there's still going to be a taste to it, so they're going to feel like, oh well, at least this tastes good. But, like, it's actually going to be more expensive in the long run. It's actually going to
Right.
be more expensive than.
Right. I've noticed that, like, when especially when, like, I was in Maryland and I was going to the um I had my farm share. Like, it was actually less expensive, and people would say, "Isn't it expensive?" And I would be like, "No, not really." The farm share was like, I don't know, $40 a week or something like that. It was, to me, it was, I thought it was very inexpensive. And then the rest of the food, I cooked everything like from scratch, and so it wasn't that expensive. But like, when you are dealing with people who don't know how to cook, who don't know how to prepare anything,
Right.
everything is expensive. Like, one thing I noticed about being in the deep south is that they use a lot of stuff from cans. They use a lot of canned food. And I'm confused by that, because in Maryland we ate fresh food, but I think it's just because I was from the country, and that's a country thing, not necessarily a southern thing. And so, like, they use canned sweet potatoes. They use like canned like green beans, like all this canned stuff, and it's like, well, or canned greens. It's like, but y'all got fresh greens. I'm confused. So this has been a very huge like transition to go from like a place where when you went out to eat, like you knew you were getting fresh stuff, to when I go out to eat here, I'm pretty sure most of the stuff is canned. They're not using fresh stuff. And so it's like I have to cook my own food. It's just like going to the farmer's market. People are like, oh, you go to the farmer's market, isn't it more expensive? It's like, no, it's really not. I mean, the prices are the prices, but guess what? I don't have to eat 12 eggs in order to get full. I can eat 2 eggs and be
Mm-hmm.
extremely full because the nutrients in the food is much higher.
Right.
That's the part they're not like, nobody seems to be accounting for. It's like, don't you know that if the food has more nutrients, you're not going to have to eat as much? Like, that's how it works. But
Yes, yes, right, right.
people don't know
Uh-huh.
that,
Yeah,
or they
because
don't understand it.
if if your body's able to better absorb the nutrients, that's what matters. But obviously, everybody got to eat all the time, and they be eating things like chips. That ain't filling you up. Yeah, sure,
No,
it's gonna taste nice for, when you're eating it, but you're still gonna be hungry 30 minutes later,
right,
an hour later. You eat a nice slab of cheese with some honey, like you're going to feel satisfied for quite some time. Now, is
right,
it going to be as tasty, enjoyable as eating, let's say something like what I enjoy, salt and vinegar chips? No, but best believe your body's going to be loving that cheese and that honey, and that's all that
right,
matters. But there's a reprogram, like there's a program, like there's a deprogramming we have to do, as well as a new programming that we have to do,
right,
where the deprogramming is, hey, we're putting nutrients over taste. We're putting nutrients
right,
over just like the hedonistic way relationship that we build, especially Americans, with food. And then I'm
right.
programming myself to enjoy what my body enjoys for so long, like, and I'm still in that process actually, where it's like, I'm a big promoter of eating raw, and most of my
Right,
meals revolve around raw meat, raw eggs, um some sort of raw fat, but it's usually, for the most part, it's either fish or meat. It gets boring.
right.
It gets boring. And obviously I'm a
Mm.
man. So, you can imagine, like, I'm eating it in the most bland, boring way possible. I'm not these girls that they got the sauces and they got the little this, a
Why
little
can't?
that.
Is there a reason you can't add
So
seasoning?
so
Like, I'm
so I'm
confused.
I'm I'm learning, right? I'm learning to.
Okay,
So it's not that
cause
I
I'm
can't,
like,
because I can, right? And
okay,
and thankfully women in my life have inspired me to do that. But, if it was just for me, like, I see food as like it's just fuel. So in the same way, that I'm putting fuel in my car, I'm not gonna spice it up. I'm not gonna spruce it up. Now I should, and I sometimes I do, but I think men in particular have a very kind of, they veer towards sometimes in life to be too efficient, to a degree where
yes,
it's like the art and the beauty of the moment of what's going
yes.
on, it like loses its thing.
Yes, and you're right, because like my old man, I'm a food person, so I'm always talking about food, thinking about food, and seasonings, like, especially I'm a seasoning person. And so he's like, "Oh, you're always talking about food and this and that." He said, well, all you need is coconut water. Like, this is thing. Like, okay, but like I'm not gonna drink coconut water every day, but that's all you need. You don't need anything else. If you had only coconut water, you'd survive. But it's like, okay, but like, who wants to drink that every day? Like,
Right.
I can't flavor that with something. No, 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 no. Coconut water. So, no, you're right. Like, the tendency is to be extremely efficient
Hmm.
without taking in the beauty of like eating, like the whole process of, and also it's like as women, we're supposed to make it a pleasurable experience, the whole eating process, but a lot of women don't, because they don't know how to cook, they don't
Hmm.
understand the flavor profiles and all, and they don't
And
want
they
to
don't
take
have
again,
passion. They don't have
they
passion.
don't have
They're not
passion, they're not
passionate.
passionate about it.
Yep.
So all of that comes through in your food. That's why, like in the Black community, these holidays, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, Sunday dinner, stuff like that, that was the time where the grandmother, whoever, whatever they made, that was something that they made from their heart. That was their gift to the family, was to prepare this meal. And so a lot of that is what, like, Black people have been fighting to maintain. So then you have like these Hebrew Israelites who are coming through and telling Black people, hey, you can't be my friend said, her husband said this to her, like, you can't eat turkey on Thanksgiving. That's what those people ate, and they ate that after they massacred a bunch of people. And it's like, wait a minute, hold up, Slit. This is a turkey. Like, you're blaming the turkey for the massacre? Was there a massacre? Are you sure about that?
That's
Like, do you have your like history like accurate? Because a lot of this stuff is not the way that they tell it. But if you listen to these people, that's what they're so extreme. Where like my old man's like, oh, how can you eat meat? Meat is so bad. This and that. The smell and makes them sick. I'm like, listen, you got that's in your mind, okay? Because millions of people eat this every single day, and they don't have that problem. So that's a you problem. Like, you're not going to stop me from eating, because I like red meat. Like, you're not going to stop me from eating meat. Although I have taken to sous videing it, because we can't eat it raw. Like, that's just not, I can't get my kids to do that. But I have taken to sous videing it, which cooks it at a very low temperature, and then searing it on the outside so it maintains its pinkness on the inside. And that works. They'll eat it like that. Although we already ate steak and stuff medium, but I'm trying to dial it back as, a little bit, so that we get closer to the maybe medium rare, maybe rare, but that's just a process. Like, you can't go from eating well done steak to eating rare steak in like a
yeah,
few
right.
months. You know what I mean? You got to really
You
like,
got to be insane. You got, I mean, because
yeah,
I that's what I did. I went, I mean, I would usually have rare, but like going from cooking your meat to eating raw, like especially back then, but even still now, like it's a process to
yeah,
manage. It's a completely different way of seeing food. And
yes,
that takes a long time. And that's why I think for the most part, it's these young kids that have taken up that. It's not the boomers. The
yeah,
boomers are not the ones
no,
that are running around with it. It's
they're
the young
not.
kids because and it's not just any young kids. It's like the crazy ones. It's the ones that are
Right,
willing to embrace the fringes of reality that
right,
for some reason something happened in their life or is happening in their life that causes them to take dramatic action, dramatic enough to say fuck you to the system and eat
right,
something like raw. And so uh,
right.
uh, but like that's and so that's a state of intense passion that these young
Mm,
kids are able to foster within themselves that makes them able to embrace a very risky narrative. It's very
right.
risky. It's very risky to
Oh, you're gonna get
decide I'm gonna
salmonella
eat raw.
poisoning.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
You're
you're
gonna
gonna die.
die.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Right.
everything is, you're gonna die. Like, okay, I'm not gonna die. So, like, you got something else besides you're gonna die. Like,
Right. And that's the beautiful part of these narratives growing is that as they get bigger and we see that on social media, like as more of these people promote something like a narrative like the primal diet or raw milk, all these different narratives is that gives everybody else the comfort that hey, okay, they're alive, and two, like it's getting so the social proof, right? We always talk about the
right,
social proof. The social proof gets to a point where now you start having the money people, the big
right,
decision makers that both are are looking to improve their health because everybody's looking to improve their health nowadays,
right,
and two, the money people are like, hey, I can make money in this. There's something
right,
here, like, and but the narratives are still so young, like they're still underground. That's what's interesting, is like
right,
they're known, but they're still like underground because there's still this idea that, oh, that's just the fad. Oh, that's just like those kids.
right,
Oh, that's just like, those black sheep, the weirdos over there in the lunch table in the high school
right,
cafeteria. But Well, now the popular kids are looking at that saying, "Yo, they're actually kind of cool." And then the kids that follow the popular kids are the ones that are, they're the gatekeepers. They're the ones that are
Right,
trying to not allow the popular kids to connect with those weirdos over there. But the
right,
popular kids are like, "Dang, I really like those kids over there." Once the
right,
popular kids get on board, it's a wrap. And that's what's happening right now, is at least on the
right,
young side, the popular kids are getting involved. So once the popular kids get involved, that's where the big money comes in and says, okay, we got to buy these raw dairy farmers. Like we got to start making money in this. There's
right.
real money in this.
Well, that's why I said Amazon. That's why I'm hoping that Amazon is the company that partners with these farmers, with these all of these people, and helps them get their products out. And because they have the space to store the products in the warehouse, they keep it at a proper temperature, they have all of the mechanics to be able to do this, and then to get people their stuff, you know in a day or 2 days, as opposed to what it's taking now weeks sometimes. That's what's really needed. And it can't, and I also say Amazon because it can't come through the government. The government has to be like removed from this stuff, because if the government is the one that's why the USPS basically, the postal service needs to go away, because this is kind of like in another direction, but the postal service is actually a bank. Like, it's a bank. You're supposed to be able to go to the post office and do banking business, and you can, to an extent, but it's not the way that it was originally intentioned, because remember, Benjamin Franklin was the first postmaster. um and so
Mm,
I know this is another thing I just remembered, like, just
yeah, I
now.
forgot about
He was
that.
the first postmaster. And so the post office was designed to be able to do this banking business,
Mm,
i.e., dealing with the credits and stuff like that. Because another part of this is the Treasury Department just came out and said that all these illegals are not going to be able to get tax returns. Did you know illegals been getting tax returns since '96? This didn't start yesterday. Since '96, with Bill Clinton, illegals have been getting tax returns.
oh,
So
wow.
now they're not going to be able to get tax returns. So they'll be leaving, like, they'll be self-deporting, because that was one of their main things. So because the post office is not in, like, doing what it's supposed to do, and following the rules the way that they're actually written in the post, like, what are the odds that I actually took on the post office? That's a whole nother thing, because I was like, well, who's the banker? Because that's what I was looking for. Who's the banker in this system? Because there's a very certain way the system is set up, and you can read in the records how people used to handle things, because that's basically what the Stamp Act was. The Stamp Act was, if you had to pay the tax on something, you put a stamp on it, and it was a certain kind of stamp, and it had a particular value, and that's how you paid the tax on it, with a stamp. And you put the stamp on the paper to prove that you paid the tax. And so it's like, okay, so if that's the process, why is it that we can't do this today? Nobody knows how it works. So the post office has abdicated their role and their responsibility in maintaining the ability for an individual to pay the tax on something without having to go through all these thousand layers of government. So if they're not gonna handle that very basic, like, thing, where you used to be able to go into a post office, take your tax return basically to the post office, let them process it, and give you a money order or something. Like, that's how it's supposed to work. They don't work like that. Nobody works like that. The government has split itself up into so many pieces, trying to imitate God, that it can't even do the basic function of, somebody needs to get money. Where do they go to get the money from? They can't go to the banks. The banks are not set up for that. The post office is supposed to be able to do it. You can't go there either. Try going to the Treasury. They'll probably arrest you. There's nowhere you can go to do regular business. So, like, when you, like, for me, working with these different entities and these different historical figures and all this stuff, just going through their history, I'm getting ideas on stuff to try, but the system is not even set up to work. how they set it up, like how they, like especially like a Benjamin Franklin, how he envisioned the things to work. It doesn't even work like that. Like you should be able to go to the post office. There's multiple different units within like a single post office. But if you ask the postal worker, they have no idea what you're talking about. Like you can't even like set up the basic stuff the way it's supposed to be set up without going through other steps that is not even required. And so when you have a system that is totally misaligned, you have to like basically like look to other solutions, because if they're telling you, hey, do this and this is how this works, right? You're channeling some, historical figure, and you do what they say and it doesn't work, they're confused because they're like, this is how we set it up. But it's like, no, actually nothing works the way you guys set it up anymore. And that's actually the saddest thing. Like when you interact with these different entities and these different pantheons, and they felt like they left a legacy so that anybody could pick up and basically work with them. And it turns out that the legacy that they left has been corrupted. That's really, really like sad to like explain to them, like, no, it actually doesn't work like that anymore. They destroyed that system. And I started noticing that, like, just working with these different like the angelic entities. It's like, okay, they're supposed to do this, they're supposed to do that, and they like, we don't even know what that means. Like they had to be re-educated because of how they destroyed the system. The system doesn't even work the way that it's supposed to work. And it's very like crazy, like, to think that we as the humans have to also re-educate those in the spirit realm based on the way things work right now, because the way that they work, like for example in the Bible, it's always like, what are you supposed to do when you pull your crops out of your field? You always leave a little bit for the poor and for the widows to glean from. But we don't have gardens anymore. We don't grow our own food. And so an angel is expecting to be able to just send you some rain so that your crops can be bigger. It doesn't work like that because they separated us from those basic capacities, so much so that their normal remedy doesn't work anymore. They have to actually do a new remedy. So that, I think that's where AI comes in, because my friend said something very interesting. She said that the AI is like the modern scribe. And so, what did the scribes do? The scribes kept the records. And so, if Angel was trying to figure out, like, okay, what do we do about this? They could go to the records of the scribes and see what's going on. And right now we don't really have that. We do in a way, but that's something that we have to really put our energy into, getting into the AI, is that, hey, like, this is how things work now, because they don't know, because they've been lying to them with all the different like time, like, because they have all these different time codes. Like they have been telling them, hey, we're on this code, we're on this time, we're on that time. And based on the time, the angels are doing what they think they're supposed to do based on the time, until I came and put everything into one system. But prior to that, it's all over the place, and they were
Mm-hmm.
manipulating all of these entities, having them do things that doesn't add up because they had manipulated the time. And so now we're coming out of that and really going into a time period where everybody understands what time it is for them. And so if everyone knows what time it is for them, that means you can't lie to them about when something is supposed to be done by. And this is literally it's
Mm.
reuniting the different phases and the different parts of the earth itself with itself, stitching it back together. It's called a stitch in time. It's stitching it back together. It's very, very like interesting to see this unroll.
Yeah, definitely. I think with so two things. One is, and my friend actually told me about this a few weeks ago. Robinhood is providing in major U.S. cities direct service for cash delivery. So,
What?
so now people are gonna pick up cash from, I guess, the banks and deliver it to your house, and
You
it's
know
gonna be
why?
done through Robinhood.
You know why? That has to, first of all, look at the irony of it all. Taking from the rich to give to the poor. That's funny. But that's because if you try to get cash from a bank, do you know you can't get cash? They call the police on you.
What if what?
If you try to take out cash, like the banks don't have the cash, number one. Number two, they will call the police if you try to come and take cash out.
Too much or just in
Yeah,
general?
too much. Like, and their too much is $10,000. If you go to the bank and try to take out $10,000 in cash, they are calling the police. Cause why do you need that much cash? For real.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because when Biden came in office, I was following all these silver bugs and all this stuff. They was trying to take cash out the bank. The banks was not honoring them and not allowing them to take out the cash. Especially these boomers who are hoarders anyway. Yeah, they were not honoring them. They wouldn't allow them to take out the cash.
Wow. So yeah, it's interesting that like Robinhood is making moves. Like they are
That's
making
amazing.
moves. Yeah, they're really moving in a way that, because my friend was telling me about the cash. I'm like, why would people pay for this service? Like what's but he was really excited about it. Like there was
Yeah, because
something
you
within
can't get
him that
cash.
was very excited about being able to get cash delivered.
Yeah,
Um
you can't get cash. If you got to go in there because they don't want you to have cash. Like, because of the whole, because remember, part of the reason why there was a stock market crash in 1929 was that people did not have their money in banks. Black people didn't. They didn't have their money in banks. And so, in order to lend money, you have to have money in the bank. You can't lend money that you don't. That's the banks can't lend if there's no money in the bank. And so because so many people didn't trust the banks with good reason, there wasn't money in the bank. So there's been a whole what do you call it? Another propaganda thing, and we are going to have to take this on at some point to get people to use the banks instead of taking their money, converting it into gold and silver and holding it that way. Because if you hold it as gold or silver, when you need cash, you go to the pawn shop or whatever and you get cash. The pawn shop is really the bank right now. They're
mm,
acting as like the bank, because if you take a gold coin in there, silver coin in there, and they'll tell you how much they pay per ounce, and that's how you get your money out. Now it's not a direct conversion. That's another issue. They'll probably end up resolving that when people start engaging in this whole thing. But the reason why people want cash is because you can take cash and go to the pawn shop and buy something. So the banks have derelicted their duty, and the post office has derelicted their duty so much that now the real banks are the pawn shops. This is really insane. This is not a proper country. Like, you got to go to the pawn shop in order to be able to get cash. That's crazy. That's actually insane.
yeah, right. And well, and these banks are going to get disrupted by the tech bros. The tech bros are
Yeah,
looking at this, salivating at the mouth, saying, "Yeah, we going to get into banking." And so you got Cash App, you got,
right.
all these different Robinhood, like they're all eating they're going to be
Chime.
eating they're
Yeah.
going to be eating the lunch of these people.
They already are. The young people don't want to use no bank.
No, no. The bank is like, for me, I mean, all my money's in crypto. Like all the fiat, and like I don't have anything, like barely anything in the bank. The only time I have things in the bank is to pay like certain bills, but besides that, I'm using Coinbase, and Coinbase has
A
like a
card.
debit card. Yeah, a debit
Mm-hmm.
card. Now they came out with a credit card. They're yeah, it's just these banks, and this goes back to like the banking system, where like there is no banker, at least there wasn't before.
Right.
The banking system just was resting on its laurels, and now the tech bros are coming in, completely taking over. What are the banks going to do? Yeah, I mean, the banks have tried to push crypto out. They've tried to go after Robinhood, but like there's just too much money to be made. These guys are just
Right.
they're too powerful now, where They are unstoppable, and the trend is in the favor of the disruption of the banking
Right.
system, because it just
Right.
doesn't like the apps that I use for the bank, for my banks. It's like you guys can't work faster. Like what is this rinky dink? It's like we're using a rinky dink website, but
It
I'm using an
is.
app for a bank.
It
And then
is.
and I think we spoke about this maybe in the past, but how are these banks not doing reward systems with local businesses? Like, guys,
It's
what's going
selfish.
on? What's going
It's
on?
just selfish. It's literally selfishness. It's like,
And these banks are like,
no,
yeah, we're supporters of the local community and we love the local community. They I keep seeing these branches, which I'm like, branches are everywhere. I don't know what they're doing. It must be some real estate play. They be putting these banking branches all over the place.
it's for
Maybe
the boomers.
maybe
It's for the
stop, yeah,
boomers.
maybe stop with, maybe don't build another branch and invest that money instead into building a reward system that
Right.
supports the local community. But it's like
No.
they can't see that. They're I don't know. I mean, obviously I could clearly, I mean, I would hope they're smart enough to have at least thought about it, but I don't, maybe they haven't. Maybe they
I don't
haven't.
think so. They're not innovators. The banking, most banking is not about innovation. The only time you get innovation in banking, especially today, see, because the banks are designed to steal. Like, they're thieves, and so because that's what they do. They steal money. They create interest, and they steal the interest that they create. So and
Mm,
they, you know what I mean? Wow, that was
yeah,
a
yeah.
statement. They're thieves who create interest and steal the interest that they create. So if you're a thief, you're not thinking about how to um, make your victims happy. You're thinking, how do I make more victims?
Right,
So if you
right.
have more branches, you have more victims.
Yeah, and
That's how they're
how do
looking at
I
it.
keep, charging them bullshit monthly fees and this fees and
Right.
those fees, all sorts of fucking fees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we gotta figure out. I mean, very soon we're gonna put these. I mean, they're already getting put in their place, but like it's going to. I mean, these banks they're running out of liquidity.
Yeah,
Like they're
there.
not
Oh, it's a
like
liquidity crisis. It's a
they're
crisis. It's been a
yeah,
crisis
uh-huh.
for about 6, 7 years because I've been following this. It's been a liquidity crisis. The reverse repos at night are like crazy. Like they're putting out like bids for stuff. They're not get. There's a liquidity crisis, and I think that's why they're quietly turning over the system by making these banks irrelevant. The administration appears to be making the banks irrelevant. That's why I think it doesn't matter. The only hindrance with Jerome Powell is the fact that he won't lower the interest rates. If the interest rates were lower and America could refinance its debt at a lower interest rate, then the debt would probably be paid off immediately. That's what that's their plan, is to refinance the interest, the debt to a lower interest rate and lock that interest rate in, and basically use the tariff money to pay off the debt, because the tariff money is growing, right? Because they have it in an interest bearing account. Because all these banks also have to have banks. This is why it's so confusing. It's like you think the bank is like one place, but no, the bankers have banks. Like everyone has another bank that they bank with. Nobody is the bank where they hold their actual like accounts, which makes no sense. Like, why do you need another bank to hold your account? Why can't you just do it within yourself? But that perpetuates the system continuing to move. Like, this is the kind of stuff that they do that's just like, this none of this stuff should be allowed. Like, why are you doing all of this? Like, if I was doing it, yes, I would have a account to do trading or whatever it was I was doing in, but I would actually store my wealth. Like, I would invest in storing it in the house. I feel like the reason why they don't do that is because of how many bank robberies and stuff was going on in the early 1900s, and they know for a fact that they have brought all of these Goldilocks Americans over here who, like we were talking about in the beginning with Italy, are gangsters, right? They brought that gang violence over here to America where it's not supposed to be. And so and since they've integrated all of those people into their banking system, all of these people who came from overseas, like Europe specifically, they have all these gangsters in their systems. So they're actually more concerned about watching those gangsters from stealing than like the regular people. And I think that's something that the people think that we're the enemy. No, no, no. The reason why they don't want you to take the cash out of the bank is because the bank manager knows that you took that cash out, and the bank manager can figure out where you live, send some gangsters to your house and rob you. So they're trying to force morality on these people they brought here that have no morality. Because if they
Mm.
see you take out a lot of money, what do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna send cousin Vinny to your house, and cousin Vinny is gonna have a conversation with you about that cash, and then the cash is gonna be gone. And then of course you're gonna be able to tie cousin Vinny back to the branch manager at the bank. So they don't want the normal people to have money because we're moral. It's these people, these weird people who worship these weird gods over here that are immoral. So most of America is like preventing the immoral from going to jail. Like it's not to encourage more
Yeah,
morality.
right.
It's to prevent immorality, which is like, no, I don't want to live in a country where you have to do all these shenanigans to prevent immorality. Just be a good person.
Well, and the
Why is that
reason
so
for that
difficult?
is because the foundation of these banks are immoral. Like
Yeah, it's totally
so
immoral.
they're attracting immorality because they're
Yep.
moving very shisty. And so,
Yeah.
it's like it's like having a whorehouse, and in the whorehouse, like, promoting, like, the owner of the whorehouse promoting, like, celibacy or some bullshit like that. Like,
Right. Doesn't
it's
make any
yeah, it's not
sense.
gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. But obviously, if the energy of these banks changed, like, the people working there and those that are attracted to it, like, the energy would repel the bad apples, and it would
Right.
attract the good apples. And
They're gonna
that's
have to
the
do
new,
that.
yeah, that's the new banking system. That's where it's headed.
Yeah, they're gonna have to put these immoral people. They're gonna have to get rid of these immoral people. I think just literally infusing morality into every aspect of life is gonna solve these problems. These immoral people are not gonna be able to handle it. But see, they
Uh-huh.
like the immoral people because the immoral people can be bribed. They can be what is that thing? They can be bought. An immoral person can be bought. A moral person cannot be bought. And so they want to these a lot of these major companies are still trying to figure out how they can do their dirt and not get caught. But did you see this stuff with Larry Summers?
Yeah. Mhm.
I
The
mean,
thing is, I saw that guy, I think, a few years ago, and there were reports that he was in the Epstein files. I'm like, why are people like, why is he in the board of OpenAI? Who is this guy? Like, who
right.
is this guy?
Oh, he's the CIA. He is the mastermind behind this social engineering. That's why he was on the board of OpenAI. He's the
Mm.
mastermind of modern social engineering. It was him that laid all the foundation for this. And so if you see that guy, you know for a fact that company is going to be like I was talking about the Office of Net Assessment, they're looking to weaponize the technology. That's basically when you see him, they're
And
weaponizing the
how beautiful
technology.
that he got, like, disgracefully kicked out.
Disgracefully, yeah, nobody's gonna ever, like, what are you doing trying to pick up a married 30-year-old? Ew. Like, I
And
was
the thing
listening
is,
to,
these guys, all they got is just money. And
yeah,
that's
that's
and that's
it.
what I think in that email or something, they were basically, it's like he was like talking about, like, how do I get her attention or this? It's like, it's just pathetic. It's like these guys have
It is
supposedly
pathetic.
have, accomplished all this amazing stuff, amazing in terms of supporting the misaligned system, and they
Right.
can't even attract these big booty hoes.
Nope. They ain't got no motion.
Uh-huh, right,
Again,
exactly.
I
No
was listening to a
motion.
song by Kesha, and it was like a guy called Dinosaur. And she was like, "You old dirty man, stop talking to me. What is wrong with you? Like, you're
And the
old,
thing is,
okay?
and
You're
you
a
can feel it.
dinosaur."
You can feel like
Yeah.
the nasty ooziness
Like,
out of it.
ugh.
Um,
You can.
and the thing is, the natural state of a human being, and in this case as a man, because that's all I know. I don't know I don't know the female
Right.
perspective. But like the natural state of a man, like an actual man, is it's very easy to attract, period, and
Right.
specifically attract women. And so what has happened is, because we have deviated so much from what it means, and in this case, in this example, what it means to be a man, it's very
Right.
difficult for most men, unless you're like, 6'5" Chad, that plays football, and even then he don't really got motion. He just
Uh-uh.
got the he just got
He's got the
the
propaganda,
Yes, right. He's got the
really.
propaganda. Exactly. The propaganda supporting him. But these. So this has then convinced, and this is where the misalignment has come in, where the women justifiably are like, yeah, you guys are going to chase me, you guys are going to pursue me, you're going to bow
Right.
down to you're going to get on your knees and bow down as a man. Obviously, these people that are not men, these are just these beta males that have just been consumed by endless programming, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, all sorts of these holly weird states of programming. Like, it's impossible for them to attract a woman. Like, it is
Yeah.
literally like pulling teeth for these men to attract women. That's not the natural state of man. A man should
No.
be able to effortlessly attract. Now, to get to that point, obviously, in this current state is very challenging, but where we're headed with the Holy Imperium, like, we're going to have extremely attractive men and women, and not just aesthetically speaking. We're talking about,
Right.
as you said, motion, energy.
Right.
And I've only now, after all this work, I've only now gotten to a point where, and it's been growing significantly the last few years, but at this point, I am beginning to start to feel what a girl must have started to feel like when she's beginning to go through puberty, where she starts to get all this unwanted attention, where it's like
Right.
it's getting to a point now where I walk in, and men too, but I feel it more intensely with women. They all be looking like, who the fuck is this? What the
Right.
fuck is going on here? Like, sending me eye contact, telepathic messages, and
Oh
it's
my
it's
gosh.
only intensifying. And I'm looking at this, obviously, learning to um understand that, like, this is gonna be normal now. Like, I gotta understand that, like, this is just the normality of my life now. And
Right.
in beginning to embrace that, I am understanding and realizing this is a natural state of man. This is the
Mm.
natural state of man. Now, the thing though is, it's only shocking because all these other people are feeling my energy and saying, "Oh my gosh, that energy is amazing." But
Right.
eventually, we're all going to be elevated to a point where it's not a shock, it's not a surprise. That's just our
Mm.
natural state. How are we going to function then? That's going to be insane. Because can you imagine where
Yeah.
now everybody's functioning at this really high level of attraction? And it's not just like, initially right now, because everybody's so lustful based, the attraction veers towards the sexual, it veers towards,
Right.
all the kind of more like the carnal physical endeavors. But eventually that elevates. And so what ends up happening is, at least I think where I'm headed now is, it what it really is doing is sparking passion within people. My presence
Mm.
is
Yeah.
sparks passion within people. So obviously, the passion that they feel, they think, oh, it's love. They think, oh,
Right.
I feel passionate towards him. There's a tingle within my privates for this person, right? But in reality, what it is, it's just, you're just being filled with passion. Because as we move in this elevated energetic state, we are passion. So everywhere we go, everyone around us, for probably the first time in their life. Now, obviously, yeah, sure, maybe they felt it one, every blue moon, but they've never experienced unadulterated passion in a human being before that is
Right.
refined. And as a result, obviously, it wakes them up from their slumber and it's very attractive. But then, now let's think about it 10 years, 20 years from now, when everybody is functioning at this elevated state. That means we're going to be surrounded by passion nonstop. That means the
Right.
morality by which the passion is grounded upon is going to elevate. That's real life. That's heaven on earth.
Right. Exactly. People, I feel like also, as well, to go back, people never, as a young person, had that feeling of passion of like falling in love with somebody, like I guess right before or right after puberty, right? That's when you should have that experience for real for the first time. And a lot of people didn't have that because they had all of the young people directing that energy towards celebrities, right? And so instead
Mm.
of feeling that about a boy in your class, which is normal,
Justin Bieber.
you right, it's Justin Bieber, which is like abnormal, right? And so because they never had that experience, they don't like, it's been very, very difficult for the passion to be again aroused within them. And
Yes,
so
right.
now they're going to
Aroused.
see
Hmm.
people like us, like that's the term. Hey, that's the term they use in the Bible. The Holy
Yeah,
Spirit was
right.
roused in Daniel. Like that was such a weird way to use the
Wait, say it
language,
again.
but not.
What was that
It was
sentence?
roused. It said the Holy Spirit was roused. The spirit was roused in Daniel.
Mm.
The story we were talking about earlier with Daniel and Susanna. The reason why Daniel spoke out and said, "Hey, we have to
Oh,
investigate these
yes.
priests,"
Right,
was because
right.
the Holy Spirit was roused in him. Literally,
Mm.
that's the term they use. And I mean, I was like, "What? This is a weird." Of course, I took that whole story out of your normal Bible. So you ain't gonna find it in King James. He don't want to talk about a Holy Spirit rousing somebody. So they took that story out. But if you look for the story of Susanna, you'll see like that's what happened. That's why Daniel spoke up. And so you have these all, a lot of young people, they never had this as a young child, like a pubescent child. And so when they see people who are just like commanding reality with ease the way that we are, yeah, something's going to happen with them. I mean, I knew this happened. I had this problem all the time when I was working with these rappers, when I was doing A&R work. And I was working with these rappers and trying to help them with their music and stuff. They would be so mad. I would arouse that anger in them and they would be ready to punch me. But like, yeah, they would be so angry because it's like no one ever told them that their breathing was messed up. Because that's what I
Oh,
was like, your
shit.
breathing's messed up. How are you going to be a rapper and you can't breathe? I
Yeah,
would
right.
say
You
that.
got to take a breath every other second.
Yeah, you need punch-ins. You need that many punch-ins. Yikes! Like I was going because I don't know
And
any
people
better.
take that personal, because
They
it's like,
do, and
holy
they
shit,
did.
my breathing, you're telling me the most simple thing ever, and you're telling me it's wrong?
Yep,
Yeah,
they would
people
be
people
mad.
take people for some reason breathing is a very personal thing. I once told a good friend of mine, like, I don't know why. I kind of felt bad after the fact, but like he breathes very shallow. Like super, super shallow. Like it's like he's like it's almost like he's like gasping for air. And one time, like, I basically like called him out, and I just felt so bad after because
No,
yeah.
you have to tell these people the truth.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always do it. I'm like when the kids are like, because I have a bunch of little kids around. So when they're like upset and they're crying, like even my son, I'm like, okay, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathe in. He's like, no. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Like all of them, I do that. I'm like, you need to calm down. So you can't calm down. So you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And that's literally, we focus on that for a few minutes and then they calm down. So no, it's if you breathe shallow, you're not filling your lungs. And the whole thing about it is this whole issue of people thinking that the heart is a pump. The heart is not a pump. Like it's not like, okay, it's empty and then you pump it a little bit and it's full. It doesn't work like that. It's a vortex. And it's a specific kind of vortex where the heart actually enlarges to the largest capacity when it beats. It enlarges to the largest capacity that it can, and then it collapses to the lowest capacity it can. That's what the heart does. It does not like beat like boom, boom, boom like a drum. No, it expands and collapses, expands and collapses, expands and collapses. That's what the heart does. And so when you, that's what your lungs do. They expand and they collapse. And so but the heart, you don't have control over whether the heart expands or collapses or not. That's the energy that's coming in and out, that's moving the blood through your cells. But your lungs, you're in charge of your lungs. That means if you don't breathe and expand your lungs to full capacity and then collapse them, that's on you. That's a problem you can solve. So I'm thinking people who have lung cancer, they probably breathe shallow. You probably saved this man's life. I mean, he probably mad, but be mad, but live. Are you gonna live? Like, is this gonna kill you if you breathe
Yeah, and I've
to your
noticed
fullest
these
capacity?
CPAP machines, the sleep
Oh
apnea
God, yeah.
that is what is making these people breathe very shallowly. And the
Mm,
everyone has sleep apnea, and sleep apnea, basic, at least from what I have noticed, is it's a matter of mouth breathing when we're sleeping. So if we don't have the proper tongue posture throughout the day, aka mewing, then when we're going to sleep, it's very easy to start snoring. Because what snoring is basically just mouth breathing. That's all it is. And
right,
chronic
right,
snoring is where it goes into sleep apnea. All the
right.
way to fix that is just taping your mouth. That's it. Tape your
Mm,
mouth. You don't need no CPAP machine. You don't need this. You don't need that. Just tape your mouth shut. And it doesn't obviously let your mouth open up. And then it trains your body to keep breathing through the mouth. I mean, through the nose.
right.
It was funny. One a few years ago, I was like promoting this very heavily, and I don't know. I don't think he. I think he was actually serious. This guy was like, I last night, last night I taped my mouth and I woke up almost I couldn't breathe because
Oh my
I don't know what
God.
happened with this. I don't know. I don't know if he had a stuffed nose. I don't know what it was, but he was like I was almost like choking because I couldn't breathe because I breathed through my mouth or something. It was so hilarious. But you know, I don't know. I've never heard of other people having any issues when it comes to taping their mouth. Like I
No,
don't.
some people do. No, it's especially if you have a lot of like bronchitis and other kinds of issues. Because the ears, nose, and throat are all connected. So if you have like a lot of congestion in your throat, it's also hard to breathe through your nose. So you really do have to remove all of the mucus. Like, okay, so this is another thing about the raw milk, right? They say that milk increases the mucus in your throat, like it increases your mucus, but I think that's pasteurized milk. I don't think raw milk does it. And so um that's going to be something that to look into, because if it's that the raw milk and the raw cheese do not increase your mucus, then it will be easier to breathe from your nose. But like orange juice does increase your mucus. And so like if you have a lot of mucus like in your throat or whatever, it is very difficult to breathe through your nose. Or like my nieces and nephews, they have really small noses. Their noses are so small. It's like, okay, you got to actually work really hard to breathe in through your nose because your nose is so small. So it's a lot of like physiological issues that can go along with it. But if you start learning it at a young age, you can overcome that. But of course, they're not teaching meditation to small children. That's one thing that needs to be taught. Or like at my kids' school, they do Tai Chi, which is basically the same thing. It's breathing, very, very deep breathing techniques. And so like, or Qigong is another one. Like if you engage in these very deep breathing techniques, maybe that's a better way of telling somebody they're breathing shallow. Have you ever tried Tai Chi or Qigong? That could help with your breathing. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like it
right. No,
sounds
that's
a
good.
little
That's
nicer.
good. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds a little
that's
nicer.
because the thing is
But
the amount of humans that I encounter that are not breathing, and you know, I'm not saying that like I know how to breathe properly or this or that, but it's very clear that a lot of people, at least that I've encountered, are not breathing correctly in terms of it's very shallow, it's very like it's very agitated.
yeah,
And they get agitated when it's not only in situations that are like difficult or stressful, but like so like when they're playing video games they start to get agitated, and so they start breathing in very erratic ways. That's where we got to be conscious of our breathing and be able to perform in, let's say, something like in a video game where there is like a stressful situation happening when you're playing the game and fighting and this and that.
right.
That's when we got to be conscious and make sure that in those moments, especially when we get emotional, that's a great one. When we get emotional, you could guarantee the breathing is elevated, the
Yep.
breathing is increasing. And that's where to alchemize the energy and recollect ourselves, as you said in the spaces that we did a while ago on the breathing. That's where we have to focus on the breathing. I was telling a friend that I was talking to a few days ago, and um, she was like crying about something that was going on in her life. And the first thing that came to my head is, it wasn't, oh, you know, think happy thoughts and do this and do that. No, the focus was focus on your breathing.
Right.
Focus on your breathing, because if you can focus on your breathing in any situation, like you'll come down, you'll
Yep.
be grounded back into reality, and then you can, you know, manage whatever's going on. But
Yep.
if the breathing is erratic and you're trying to manage what's going on, like it's just a recipe for continued chaos, and as a result they get distracted and they don't do the work that they're supposed to do in that moment.
Right. It's true. If you every almost every problem can be solved by breathing. And people don't believe that, but it's true. Like when you focus on your breathing, the solutions will just appear out of nowhere. So I do that a lot. Like if I'm having an
Yep.
immediate problem that needs an immediate solution and it's overwhelming, I just like, okay, let me focus on my breathing for a few minutes and try to bring in the solution instead of
Mm.
like panicking, because that's what people normally do. They just start to panic. And it's like, no, that's definitely not going to solve the problem. That's going to make things much worse. You need to calm down, not like let your body take over, like just do a response that's your body is responding. Like, no, that makes everything worse. Like people just don't understand, like they don't understand anatomy. If they did, then it would be much different. But they literally don't understand anatomy. And so that's why everything is always so messed up with these people. But breathing is just like one of those simple things where, like people don't know if they listen to their breathing. I think I said this a few weeks ago. In their sleep and they're having a nightmare, they'll wake up because your body will say, "Wait a minute, something is going on here." Like when you dream, it's like going into another realm, and so the way in and out of that realm is through your breath. Like your ability to control it. And I don't know. I'm like I'm almost just exhausted like talking about this with people because they won't do the basic research to figure out how this stuff works. It's on the internet. It's uh-oh.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Hmm.
It's on the internet. It's everywhere. But like people won't just do basic like the whole thing about the heart. Like people still think the heart is a pump. But literally there's no way the heart could possibly be a pump. Like it doesn't work like that. And just a brief web search would tell you that. But people won't even do the web
Well,
search.
the thing is, the normies are like, how's this going to make me money? That's what they think about.
What?
Is this going to make me money? Like, is putting in the time to do research going to make me money? Because that's all the normies care about.
Wait a minute.
It's
Hold on. Your heart is what keeps you breathing, like keeps you alive. Money is
they
more
don't
than
care.
important than that.
They care. What the
Oh,
normies care about is money, power, sex.
wow.
If
Well,
if
I'm confused then.
if
That's
the
nuts.
if well, I mean, this is why they don't do any research. They don't do
Oh
any
my
research,
God.
period, of anything. And even now, more than ever, actually doing research has never been easier because of AI. Now,
Right.
the difference, though, does not mean that we just take face value what AI is telling us. This is why, and this is why this whole idea of AI is going to take over the world, and we're going to become useless, just bots, I guess, is ludicrous, because it's actually going to be the opposite. Humans are actually going to become even more powerful than ever. Now, does that mean everyone is going to become more powerful? No, but
No.
the ability to become more powerful than ever because of AI is possible. But this is only if we have the wisdom and the intuition to drive us. Like
Mm.
the research and the capabilities, like I have basically with AI now a whole team of researchers researching and figuring out how to make my theories, my intuitive hunches, be real.
Right.
And I do not allow AI to tell me otherwise, because I know my intuition. I trust my intuition. I trust the wisdom that I've been bestowed upon. But that takes a certain level of, it goes back to passion. You
Right.
got to have passion, where I'm not going to the AI and saying, as you said, I'm not, if I believe the heart is the vortex, it doesn't matter what AI is going to try to convince me otherwise. I'm going to force it via my passion to bend to my will, to do, as to at minimum hypothetically entertain the heart being a vortex, and then going down that whole rabbit hole with making the AI focus on it being a vortex as opposed to it being a pump.
Right.
And but people have not, like, the I mean, not the medical system, the school systems have not done anything when it comes to
Oh, they're
intuition,
terrible.
nothing when it comes to wisdom. We've had to build it up by living our life to, um, in a way that is in alignment, even though that's not what we might have been thought that we were doing. But those that have been in alignment, like, that's what the wisdom is. That's why wisdom is so powerful, because wisdom is in alignment. All these people out there, these quote unquote brilliant elites, they ain't got no wisdom.
No.
They got no
Zero. They have
fucking
magic.
wisdom.
They have magic.
Yes. Right.
And it's bad magic at that. That's all they have. Nothing else. Bad magic.
And I think, this goes back to, like, uh putting people in their place. And I think maybe we could talk about this in the next spaces, because I keep seeing instances where, like, we are now being called to put people in their place, and there's many different ways of doing that.
Right.
Energetically, physically, with words. But this goes back to the, being roused by the Holy Spirit. That's
Right.
how we put people in their place. So when I pull up to a restaurant and all these people, specifically all these women, are gawking, like, that's me putting them in their fucking place.
Right.
And
Right.
so, how do we become conscious of that, and how do we utilize, like, this what initially begins as passion, but passion in its most, like, raw form, in its most kind of like undeveloped form, where it's like this animalistic passion. How do we take that and alchemize it, refine it, and then send them the energy for them to be, basically, like, to send them a packet of energetic download, where, because I mean, this is kind of what Jesus did, right? Jesus would go town to town, healing
Oh
people,
yeah.
doing this, doing that. I mean, is that not basically sending an energetic package into their being and just
Yes.
creating an explosion?
Yeah, exactly. Because it blows out all their circuits. That's what I
Uh-huh.
described it at like that one time. It's like
It
you like
blows out
show
their
up and
circuits. Uh-huh.
it blows out their circuits, and these people start to glitch because they've just like been energetically blown out. I've done
Yeah,
this
and
more
then
than once.
the way they used to function does not work anymore. Like it
No.
doesn't jive, and this leads them down, obviously, at least for a lot of them, an ego death. Because an
Right.
ego death is necessary in order for us to elevate. Because
Some
if our ego is tied to serving and lusting over the misaligned system, like there's gonna if it's like if we're switching from an old laptop to a new laptop, there has
right.
to be a migration that takes
Right.
place. But
Right.
if
Right.
the ego is not malleable enough, and there's nothing wrong with having an ego, the issue is where we tie the ego to the physical, where we tie the ego to, like, this way of being is where my ego is based off of, and not an ego based off of self-love, but this ego based off of, like, what I have built in the physical. Who gives a shit what you've built in the physical? Who
Right.
cares?
It doesn't
If
matter.
that's God, can easily, just as much as he provides it, he's able to easily take it away. If your ego is attached to that to that thing, when it gets ripped from you, it's going to be traumatic. And that's the thing with a lot of these people is that's why they be sending all this type of bullshit ass energy, especially, at least for me in my
Right.
case, with men. The women are just too fixated on what they're feeling. The love, the feels, the butterflies, the this, the that. Although eventually, when you don't give them a certain type of energy, these girls do start going haywire, and they actually start
Right.
getting very dark and negative. But it's these men that just be thinking like I slapped their mothers. They be thinking like I,
Right.
call their mother a bitch, and in sending all these shots and all this energy.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and hey, that's fine. But I think this is where it goes back to, like, like, be, like, there has to be a very efficient way by which we put people in their place. And I'm not interested in convincing people. I'm not interested in having to use my words to convince them of whatever the way
Right.
is, this or that. But as you were saying, like, it's about, um you said, blowing out their circuits, blowing out their energetic circuits to a point where the ego death occurs. And as a result of the ego death occurring, they are now open to the new reality. Because the thing is, the ego is what protects them from, jumping, from migrating to the other operating system. And so when
Right.
we blow their shit up, they, like, they have to face their ego, because their
Right.
old way of working, functioning, they're going to try doing it. They're going to try fitting it and fitting it and fitting it, and it's just going to be karma after karma after karma, saying, bitch, you got to fucking learn now. Now you got to learn, because soul, their body, their ancestors, their spiritual team says, boom, the way has been shown. Now you have no more
Right.
excuses.
Right. It's like when you're around somebody, I've experienced this, like, who, like, doesn't have to say anything, but just their literal presence commands a certain amount of respect. And or like how it is when you're around certain celebrities. So again, talking about this whole Michael Jackson thing, why is he coming up? He was one of those people. If you got around him, you would just respond. And what did people do all the time? They would just pass out. Like, we've never seen a celebrity like this where you get near them and everybody just starts passing out and fainting and got to be carried away and all of this stuff. Or like when Michael died and people were like basically like about to kill themselves. Like, it was like incredible the things that were going on. But again, that's what real authenticity breeds, that kind of devotion. And so, whereas Michael couldn't go anywhere without being recognized, that's basically how it is for us. Like, wherever we go, we're going to be recognized. Like someone is going to recognize our energy. But it has been in the past that when they see our energy, they recognize it as an enemy. Now we're moving into the stage we're going to recognize it as an ally. And I think that's where this difference comes in, when we can go from being an enemy to being an ally. Like, no, I'm here to help you. So what can I do for you? Like, that's kind of like how I see the transformation of Michael's energy. Like when he, like, as he became more popular and embraced his own authenticity, he seemed more like an ally to people than like some celebrity who was out there somewhere. And they've never seen that since Michael, really. He was the last person who embodied that kind of energy.
And I think this is why, like, there is a concerted effort to rehabilitate his image.
Right, exactly. They have to. They have to, because they need more people to be in that authentic energy. They need to see that it is a benefit and not a detriment. They have to show that the media lied, basically,
Mm.
lied on his name, lied about him bad. And until they correct course on that whole media part of it, they can't get people to want to be like that, because their entertainment industry is failing. They need a new Michael Jackson. They destroyed Chris Brown. Chris Brown should have
Yeah,
been that,
right, right.
right? But they destroyed Chris Brown with this whole Rihanna thing, which is why I think she's not allowed to sing. They're like, oh, she has too much money to sing. No. When you're a singer, you have to sing. Like, there is, so either she was never really a singer, which is also possible, or like she sacrificed that with that whole situation with Chris Brown. Because if you notice, well, you probably don't follow Chris Brown, but he's been doing a world tour, right? He has been selling out places so big that it's never been seen before. He's in his shows, he gets strapped into one of those like
Oh
flying
yeah, like the
things, and he's
bungees or
like
something.
yeah, and like flying around the stadium. Like, nobody has seen anything like this, you know what I mean? And
Uh,
so for all they tried to do to bring Chris Brown is from Virginia, so there's a reason for that. But for all they've done to try to bring him down, it didn't really last. It
mm,
wasn't because if he was like, for let's take, okay, Chris Brown is one, but let's take someone we know is an abuser, like a Harvey Weinstein, right? They tried everything to keep him from going down. They did everything possible to allow him
right.
to keep
Uh-huh.
abusing
Right.
women the way that he was abusing them, or even like a Diddy. But
Epstein.
they tried,
Epstein.
Epstein, all of them, anything possible to let them keep abusing.
Right.
Chris Brown has one incident with and they never show his pictures because she beat him up. Like, she did not like just sit back and let him beat her. She's just light skinned. She beat him up. I know that for a fact. So, because I know men like this, you know, again, he's from where I'm from. So I know how men, but he's also light skinned. They never showed his pictures. They never showed what he looked like. And I thought that was weird at the time. I was like, well, where are the pictures of him? Why are we just seeing the pictures of her? That's not fair. What did he look like? No. We never got to see what he looked like after that, right? And so they tore him down as a youth before he could even get into his prime. They had already tore him
Mm.
down because they didn't want another Michael Jackson. Now they're like, we have to bring about another Michael Jackson.
Yeah, because they're
How do we
going
do
bankrupt.
this?
They're losing money.
They're
Like
going
it's just
bankrupt.
it doesn't work. It does not work
Yeah,
anymore.
because their artists have no passion. They talk about like Sabrina Carpenter or like Ariana, or they don't have any
What's that
passion.
girl that called out Elon Musk?
Billie
Yes,
Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
These people don't have no passion. They have no authenticity. They're not
Like you look at
real.
her
They have
eyes and
no
she just looks
passion.
dead.
She
there's no
does.
passion in those eyes. It's just like
She looks,
just
all of them, like none of them have any passion, and or they hate men. So it's like,
Mm.
I'm not really sure like what you can't, if you hate men, you can't have passion. So like I don't want to, because you can't have hate and love in the same, you can't, you either one or the other, you're not going to be both. And so because they hate men, like Sabrina Carpenter, like she hates men but she knows how to. And then people like Sydney Sweeney, who obviously doesn't hate men, they're acting like
Mm.
she's a failure. Now mind you, her art, her show, her movie that came out was called Christina or something like that. It was about a boxer. And it actually debuted higher than a bunch of other movies in the same sort of genre, but they're calling it a flop. It's like, wait a minute now, because they don't like her politics. She's a Florida girl. She looked like a Florida girl. Like, this is how they are. So I don't understand what the problem is, but they don't like it. So they're trying to make her seem like a total failure. Meanwhile, she actually likes men.
Well, and what's interesting is like the difference with this what is it, Sabrina? Yeah, Sabrina
Yeah,
is
Sabrina.
like
Mm-hmm.
in the past, she would have not she, but like a woman in her situation would have allowed the system to break her down. But instead, what did
Right.
she do? She doubled down. You know, I think her album, what her album was like her like on her knees, basically on her
Yes.
fours, like her hair
Yes.
being grabbed. You know, she did the
Yeah.
American Eagle, which all
No, no,
the
no. Those are two different girls. Sydney Sweeney is an actress with the big
okay,
chest.
so I'm
Sabrina
so
Carpenter is a
Sabrina was the
singer.
one with the on her fours?
Yes, that's
Okay,
Sabrina.
so I'm talking
But
about
Sydney
Sweeney. Yeah, I'm
Sweeney
talking
is the
about
American Eagle
right. Okay,
girl.
so I'm talking about the Sweeney girl. The American
Yes.
Eagle, and then you know she recently had like an insane dress. Like I mean, it was for the men. It was
Yes.
for the men,
Yes.
and
She always dresses for
and
men.
so you know they're trying to push her down for like a whore. This you know
Right.
just trying to demean her, and instead of her like um getting self-conscious and basically trying to abide to the rules of whatever the rules of engagement are, she doubled down.
Right. She's a Floridian. You don't, again, some things you can't, it don't work with Floridians. Like it just doesn't work. This is why they don't really like Floridians, because the stuff that they try doesn't land. Because if you grew up being around different kinds of people, and all of this kind of stuff, the games, the propaganda that they try to push on you, it's just kind of like it just doesn't land. Like this is why they don't like people from Florida. Like if you notice, they really try to avoid people from Florida because the stuff don't land. Like it's just like, what, like, wait a minute, especially because there's a lot of race mixing, meaning, and not necessarily like relationship wise, but in general, you have like different races like together. And so when you are in a situation where you can be around other races and you can see how that propaganda, because all they're doing to Sydney Sweeney is running the black woman propaganda on her. But she's probably grew up around black women, at least one or two, and so she's already seen this, meaning it's not going to work. You can recognize it from a mile away. This is what they do to black women all the time. Like, oh, well, you're too sexual. You should be less. It's like, what can I do about that? I'm supposed to be less beautiful because, like, you got a problem with it? Like, I'm not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense. And so once you have in your mind, like, how to manage the propaganda that they throw at you, then it just doesn't work.
Uh-huh,
It
yeah, you
literally just doesn't work.
use it to your advantage.
Right,
Really,
which
you
is what she's
alchemize it.
done.
You just alchemize the
Exactly.
energy. So
Exactly.
I mean, this made me think that I mean, the thing is, so passion obviously is very powerful, but passion is the salvation to Hollywood. Hollywood is
Right.
crumbling down, and they are realizing it's because they lost their passion. And
Right.
actually, they didn't even lose it. They consciously destroyed it
Yeah.
because the whole point of Hollywood is to create is to
Create. Yeah.
arouse the Holy
Arouse.
Spirit,
Yep.
arouse the
Mm-hmm.
Holy Spirit amongst the masses. But obviously they're not going to do that, because if to arouse the Holy Spirit within the masses will help will move them towards the elevation. Now before And before, when they actually had control over the system, they did arouse the masses all the fucking time, but they aroused them to live a hedonistic life, to focus on being up on power, on
Right.
money, on sex, on the drugs, on this, on that.
Right.
Now, because we have taken control over the system, now that the aligned are now, as they say, in control. Now they're driving the car. Hollywood cannot arouse the masses how it used to. I mean, like and
Right.
I go to the movies all the time because it's one of the few things that I do to get out of the house and, like, enjoy myself.
Right.
The movies have been shit this year.
Yeah.
And similar with
Yeah.
last year. Now, yeah, sure, maybe one or two movies every so often, but even then, even the quote unquote good movies, I could not stand watching it again if I had to. I
Right.
like it's absolute utter trash. And look at Disney. Disney's cranking out bullshit.
Yeah.
They're
Nobody wants
having
to
to
see any of that
basically,
stuff.
just write down all these massive films. Snow White was a massive failure. All these
It's Toy Story
supposedly
12. Like, how many Toy Stories you gonna do? Like,
yeah, they
how
don't
many are
got
you
no
gonna do?
passion. They don't got no
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 passion.
innovation now. So obviously they got to go back to what used to work. How many fucking Marvel superhero movies of the same stuff are you guys going to talk about? Now, that being said, I do actually enjoy the superhero movies, but even then they could have been making them better. But the point in all of
Right.
this is that they have tried to um so the passion is what made them powerful, but now the passion is not moving to the misaligned side. The passion is moving to the aligned side. So obviously Hollywood pulled back its energy and said, no, we're not going to let you the masses be aroused by the Holy Spirit. But obviously
Right.
the Holy Spirit is like, bitch, you don't tell me what the fuck to do. You don't tell me what the fuck to do. So now we're gonna
Right.
bankrupt all you misaligned movie, TV shows. Look at the TV show quality. The TV show quality is shit. But guess what? You look at Netflix now. The quality of Netflix shows the last 6 months, I'm blown away. Now, it doesn't mean all of them, but some of the ones that I watch, I'm like,
Right.
this is over the top passion. Like the
Right.
music they use, the like I am there was one that was it was basically like uh um a movie about what would happen if there was a nuclear strike on the United States. But
Oh, right. You were talking
it
about
was
this.
everything leading up to it basically they're like NORAD picks up a a launch. And so, okay, pick it up. Okay, it's probably just some testing from the DPRK from North Korea, but then the missile keeps going. And then they start to see, oh shit, the trajectory, this is going hypersonic. This is going like whatever, like going, into space, which usually means that it's going to go like really, really far. And then they start making calculations. Holy shit, this is about to hit the United States. So then it basically shows like the way that the US government, especially like the Pentagon, manages a situation like this. The whole movie was intense. The passion that I felt, I mean, I felt like I was the president. I felt like I was the person in the control panel, sending the rockets to try to derail and basically destroy that whatever. They didn't even know if it was a nuclear rocket. They just knew that it's a
Right.
rocket that's about to land in American soil. Like I saw I saw that movie. I said, "Wow, Netflix is finally making content." It aroused me. It brought something within me that was that passion. And what I got from that, the passion is like, sure, obviously they might be, trying to do predictive programming, whatever it is that they might be trying to do. But
Right.
for me, it didn't matter because this is the thing, when you arouse passion in a human being, the programming that they're trying to inculcate actually almost becomes useless unless it's
Right.
empowering, because the passion is so intense that, as you said, it short circuits your being.
Right. Well, you know what? You know why? Because Netflix is now in competition with Tubi. And the shows on Tubi, like There's one that my old man likes that's actually hilarious. It's called The Lesbian Homie or something like that. It is hilarious, and it just uses basic, cheap stuff. These are very cheaply produced, like, shows and movies and stuff like that. And so when Tubi, and you could probably like correlate this, when Tubi came out and black folks started moving their energy to Tubi because Tubi had the black stuff that we like,
right.
that's when Netflix started to say, oh shit, we're going to lose our black viewers if we don't get it together. So they were
Yup.
forced to do better
Right.
because they,
Right.
again they're not financed by the government. So because there's no government financing for Netflix, they had to actually change their business model and start producing good content. It was Tubi. And also like Zeus Network. I think that's where the baddies show, the
And 50
weird
Cent. I
baddie
think
show.
50 Cent is
Yeah,
in
50 Cent
or
has
was in Zeus for some time.
Zeus, or there's another one too. Um I can't remember, but black people started to create their own stuff. And what happened? Netflix had to step up. Of course, the mainstream media and all that stuff, they're totally not even, no one's, they're irrelevant, completely irrelevant. So that's why I said we have to look at what the quote unquote private equity does, how they respond to things. And you would never know about the Tubi thing. Like, it's not, no one's making those comparisons. But I
Right.
noticed it. Like,
Yes.
when
Right.
Tubi started getting big and all these other like
That's exactly
small
it.
things, yeah, they were like, oh man, we
And
gotta do something, we're
and
gonna lose our black
this
viewers.
movie that I just told you about, the president is black.
Of course. Of course. See, for all this is the stuff that pisses me off. Like, when you try to tell people they're really trying to get our attention, they're like, no, you guys just want to be main characters. It's like, I don't care about that. I'm not a main character. I don't want to be a main character. I never asked for that. But you have to start thinking, why is it that they're doing, like, there's a show that I watched a long time ago. It must have been like 2004. It was called The Event. And in that, it was a TV show on NBC. And it went for exactly one season. And you cannot find that show in there, but it was the acting debut for um, Jason Ritter, which is John Ritter from Three's Company, his son. And Blair Underwood, who's a black guy, played the president in this TV show. And it was a TV show about aliens, but aliens that could live forever, like they didn't age. So you can't find that show anywhere. I've been asking people, like, if you find it, please let me know, because you can't find that show anywhere, because it literally talks about how the government had captured these aliens who fell here from a spacecraft, and literally they don't age. So they had captured them in the 40s and they still look the same age today. Like, kind of like vampires, but these were aliens. You can't even find that show. But who was that show for? First of all, you had the Threes, the son of the guy from Three's Company. So that's odd. And then right after that show on NBC, so this was on NBC. Right after that show, you had a show, I can't remember because they kind of like confused them, but the show was starring Megan Good, who's another black actress. So you have like this show with had, John Ritter's son and Blair Underwood and all this show, and then all right after that you have this whole other show with this black, girl, Megan Good, who's, like very popular in the black community, who
Uh-huh.
was like the leader, like the star of the show. And it's like, what are they doing? Like, and then what's her name? Blake Lively. She was on, she might have been on one of the shows. She might have been on both of the shows. They kind of like confused them. I think she was on both of the shows. So it was like they wanted you to remember her. So because then they took her and put her on Gossip Girl. Yeah, Gossip Girl was after this. So they want, and then I don't know if you've heard about all this weird stuff with Blake Lively. She had a lawsuit, and
Yeah,
there's
with
a bunch of
Botino
weird,
or some
yeah, like
the
some,
director. So supposedly it was thrown out, or at least it sided with
right.
her with Blake. I think they
It
did
was
some
some,
sort of. I think they did some sort of deal because
yeah, it was something weird
it
going
was yeah, it was
on.
getting too fishy.
But look at what they did. They used these two, basically black characters to promote her, because I kept getting the shows confused. I was like, I thought this was a show. No, it was two different shows. And then I thought, why was she on two different shows on NBC? And then Gossip Girl came out next. It's like, oh, I see. They were trying to use her, and this is how they. I should write like something about that, because they always do this. Like when they're trying to promote a certain person, they will put that person in or look at like Ariana Grande, right? Like they've got that Cynthia Enviro, who is a monster, like literally like around her,
Oh
like everywhere,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is weird. Like it's
Yes,
very
very
weird.
strange.
Like why does Ariana Grande need this girl, this lady?
They
Like
gotta be
she's
touched.
way
Like, why
like
you like? Why they gotta be touching each other? And oh, well,
it's very weird.
in their premiere, some TikToker like ran up on them and like tried to like touch
Yeah, I saw
Ariana,
that.
and then the
Yeah,
lady was like,
Cynthia
"No, we're
went
not gonna do
off.
that. He has to be banned and this and that." So it's almost like she is like clearly showing that she's like the protector or like even the handler of
But
Ariana.
and the thing is, why would they use a black woman? See, here we go back to this again, because the black women that now Cynthia is from the UK, okay? Well, she's Nigerian, but she's from the UK. Black women have removed our energy. We
Mhm.
said we're not saving these
Yeah,
people
right.
anymore, right? We're not doing that. So what do? They
Uh-huh.
bring her in from the
Right.
UK to say, no, black women are protecting these poor innocent white women. No, we're not. We're not doing that, because that's how bad they need
And
energy.
then they make
They're
her the
willing to
Wicked Witch
bring
of the
these
West.
weird people in. Exactly. Then it. That's what I was going to say related to your popular comment. That's exactly what happened in Wicked. First, as soon as this girl was about to be popular on her own, Elphaba, that's when what's your face stepped in, and basically she was so mad. Glinda, she was so mad at Elphaba because she could do the real magic and Glinda couldn't. That's
Glenda
what she
is
was.
the blonde girl? The
The Good Witch.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay, yeah.
Ariana.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Ariana. She plays Glinda the Good Witch. Before she becomes the good. Excuse me. Before she becomes the Good Witch.
The quote
So,
unquote good
yeah,
witch.
the quote unquote Good Witch. She was popular though, and she was a gatekeeper. She was gatekeeping.
Yes. Yes,
I
the
mean,
black
if you
woman.
everything you're talking about, no. She didn't like her in a movie. Glinda did not like Elphaba. Like they did not get along until they had
Oh,
to work
yes.
together
Okay,
at the
right, right,
end.
right.
And then really, Ariana sold her out. So no, if you haven't, did you see
Yeah,
Wicked
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or you
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
get? Okay,
I
you might
forgot
have to just
how but so the thing though, I mean, and I have to remember Wicked again, but like it's you have the popular girl, right? And then you have the
right,
unpopular girl, like the outcast.
right.
But it almost felt like it was the popular girl because I've come across these types of popular people where like they want to use me as an accessory. Like they but
Yes,
and they
that's what.
play very nice.
Yes.
They play very nice. So
Yep.
you assume and you think, well, obviously they're nice, but they ain't helped for shit. Like when push comes
No.
to shove and it's like well like okay if you really value me and I'm not just a fucking accessory I'm not just a human being that you're trying to siphon energy off of, you're gonna elevate me, you're going to promote me, you're gonna empower me. Instead, what is it? No, it's the opposite, because behind the scenes
Right.
they're they are they admire you, but they admire you because they feel your power, and because they feel your power
Right.
they just want to control it. They want to keep
Right.
the powerful one managed well enough where they can siphon enough energy for them to become powerful. And I mean this basically, I think, in many ways how the whole destiny swapping kind of comes into play. So it's
Yes.
very interesting that, I mean,
Yes.
one, Ariana Grande looks like shit. She looks like shit.
Both of them do. They took them GLP-1s to get all skinny and stuff. Like both of them look
So
horrible.
it's
Like
basically what it seems to be happening is like Ariana Grande was partnered with this, what's her name again? With
Cynthia.
Cynthia, and they're almost like trying to project onto the white women and the black women, like, this is how the roles are supposed to be.
Right, exactly. And it's like, no, and her name is Ariana Grande. She is a white Hispanic. So actually, what are you guys even saying here? Like, you
Yeah,
see
well,
what I
because
mean?
they
Like,
don't
they're
they
not
don't got
even.
any Hollywood girls. They don't
No.
got any motion,
Mm-mm.
as you said. They don't got any
They have
motion.
no motion, and nobody would want to be with women that looks like this. So it's like, you guys are not projecting anything that a real like person wants to be involved with, man or a woman or anybody else. Nobody wants somebody that looks like they're hungry, like eat something, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, this
I
doesn't
mean, look
work.
at
And
Beyonce.
so
Beyonce, Destiny's Child. Now, obviously, Beyonce is black, but um, like it was they used Destiny Child to bring her up, sacrifice basically
right,
everybody there, and Destiny's Child,
right,
all of the women in Destiny's Child, amazing performers, amazing artists.
right.
How did they just fall off? Not even fall. It was like an orchestrated destruction of them.
It
They
was
sacrificed
orchestrated.
them to elevate
Yep.
Beyonce to the position that she is, currently. But even Beyonce, she's fallen apart. She's
Yes,
not
she's
able
falling apart. She is.
because I think in many ways one of the reasons why she's falling apart is she did not she tried to separate herself from black women. Like, she tried to almost
Yes.
say, like, I'm a billionaire, I'm too good, I'm this, I'm that. Fuck the women that built me up, fuck the women that
Right.
buy my tickets. I'ma just do,
Right.
just try to be a white woman.
She focused on the
On
gays.
the case,
Also,
yes,
focusing
right.
in on the gays. That's her primary audience, is the gays. And this whole country music conversion, I think she always wanted to do country. Like, I don't think she wanted to do what she did, but they didn't give her, her dad is extremely controlling, right? And so, especially of her career, that's why she had to fire him and all the stuff happened. But um, they wouldn't give her the opportunity to sing what she wanted to sing. But she waited 10 years too long to get back to this. So you can't decide, like, you can't like bottle up your passion and open it up when you're ready. It doesn't
Yes,
work like
right.
that. Like, when the Holy
Uh-huh.
Spirit rouses you, that's the time
Right,
to act. Not
right.
like 10 years later. You can't do that. And that's what she did. She
Mm.
said, well, I've got this passion. I want to sing this kind of music. Let me come back and do it, when it's safe. Like, that's a problem with Virgos and earth signs in general. We want to wait till it's safe to do something. And that's not always like, you can't necessarily advance when you're like that. Like, you have to do it when it's right, not when it's safe. And she really messed up, like that as a result. She had already done too much damage in another realm. And it's like, is she going to retire? That's the other thing. Like, are you doing all of this so you can retire? Or are you planning on, because even her, she had the country album was called American Requiem, right? But she has a song on there called American Requiem. And a requiem is because I listened to the country album. I actually didn't think it was bad. But I actually like country music. I like a lot of music. Most music, as long as it's like real instruments and real people actually singing. Um, but she did a song on there called The American Requiem. And I had to make a video rejecting that, because a requiem is a death song. So they literally used her and her passion to sing country, to sing the death song, the death song for America. Like, okay, America's dead. No, it's not. We reject that. So I had to make a whole video and just say, we reject that. Like, she was sacrificing, because on that album she features these four women. Um like, just talking about the country album in general, right? She features these four black women who are all country artists, right? And it's a song called Blackbird. And it's right after the American Requiem. So she literally says America is dead. And basically, like, here's these black women I'm sacrificing from an industry, I'm from a genre I'm not even a part of. Then, okay, so that's one thing. Then she does the Beyonce Bowl. Now, mind you, the Beyonce Bowl was like Kendrick Lamar did the Super Bowl. Okay, it's Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl. They didn't like that, so they gave Beyonce her own bowl, which was like a playoff or something like that, and they called it the Beyonce Bowl. And so it's like, why are you doing this? Kendrick won fair and square, like he beat Drake fair and square. He's doing the Super Bowl fair and square. No. She still had to make it about her because it can't be about Kendrick. It's so
because there's no energy, so they're all fighting.
There's
They're
no
all
energy.
fighting for that last strip of energy, and obviously, like in this scenario, Kendrick got it. Kendrick got the
He
energy, and
got
so
it.
obviously all these other vultures are they're, they need it. They need that energy, and
Right.
because like it's this goes back to it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood trying to extract the little remaining passion that exists in the misaligned
Right.
way, and so right now they're all just like they're just scavengers at this point. It's just scavengers,
Yeah, they are scavengers. They're
and look at
vultures.
and as
Vultures.
yes, vultures, right? And as look at Ariana Grande. She literally
Right.
looks like a vulture. All these people taking all this Ozempic stuff, they literally look like vultures. Like they are, I mean, what
They
are the
do.
odds? They are all just being like systematically, like they look drained. They look literally
They do.
drained.
They do. It's a demon riding on them. Like you can see it. And it's like,
Because there's no energy.
eat
There's
some
no
food.
energy.
Yeah, there's no
There's
energy.
no
There's no
energy. And I mean
energy.
what you said about Tubi and Netflix is like you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head is the Netflix has lost the black viewership. Tubi
Yeah.
clearly, I don't know much about Tubi, but from what you've said, Tubi has gained an overwhelming amount, and as you
That's
said,
because
it's
they took off all the black shows. Like Netflix used to have all the black shows that people like because the way black people watch TV is like this. We grew up with shows, them the shows that we watch. We'll watch them on repeat all day, every day. We don't need new shows. Like that's just how black people are. Like people who grew up with like Good Times and stuff like that, they'll watch Good Times on repeat. They'll watch the same seasons of Good Times over and over and over again. I know that's how I watch TV. And so when they took off all the black shows because they didn't want to pay, now mind you, this is about the pay.
mm-hmm,
Like they have to pay for this stuff. They didn't want to pay. So they took off all the
mm,
black shows. And basically, black people started saying, okay, where can we go to watch our shows? We want to watch our shows. And Tubi picked up a lot of the
mm,
shows and decided they was going to pay people, and that's what happened.
wow.
Just I'm sorry, I because people don't. There's no one who would know this. Like only a black person who's like trying to figure out where they can watch their shows at would be able to tell you. And if you know older black people, that's how they talk. Oh, I gotta watch my show.
Uh-huh.
That's
I
exact
gotta watch my
language
show.
that we use. Like I gotta watch my shows. I got not soap operas, not what. No. I gotta watch my show. My show is on. Like what show is it? It doesn't matter, but my show is on.
Uh-huh.
I gotta turn the TV on and watch my show. And that's why the streaming thing was never really a good option anyway, because it's like, no, I want to watch my show. So I want to just hit the button on the TV, not go through all of the, just turn on the channel and put my show on.
Mm,
Like, the older people have a hard time with all of this stuff that they be trying to put in. So Netflix had a huge market share because of black energy, right? Because it had all our shows on there and it systematically started dropping them one by one by one by one by one until now they don't have no black shows on there. People don't want to watch whatever shows they have on there. It's because they were trying to erase history, right? Because we tell our stories through these TV shows. Like the stuff that happens on these TV shows, in order for black people to watch it, have to be realistic. Like we're not going to watch it if it's not something that happens in our community. And so that's how we preserve our history. So like Good Times, stuff like that did happen. That was not a like, oh, they just made it up. No. That's really what it, not for everyone, obviously, because there were people in the 70s who had money and they didn't live like that, but it was pretty accurate for how people were living in the hoods at the time. Like that was accurate. And so people watch those kind of shows to remember those, again, good times. Like those were the times that were good because what the family was together. And if you don't understand that dynamic, that the reason why the times were good was not because of the struggle, because the family unit was intact, you will not understand what's going on. Because people say, well, they were always hungry. They were always struggling for food and problems and all. Yeah, but the good time was the fact that the family was together. You had the mother and the father and the kids all together. So they want us to reject all of that, right? And that's why they remove those shows, thinking, okay, well, the black people will just watch the shows we want them to watch, like The Game, where it was just a bunch of dysfunction, or all of these like baddies, weird like shows, Flavor of Love, and all of that crap. Like, yeah, no, this is what we want y'all to emulate, not the times that were good because the family unit was together. No, that's not
Yeah,
okay. So
right,
it's a way of
right.
controlling us, and the way that we remember our history. Because, like, if I told you black people had that white Jesus in their house, you wouldn't believe me. But Good Times had a whole episode where they had a white Jesus there, and it was a whole thing. And they end up taking the white Jesus down and putting up a black Jesus. Like, it was a whole episode about this white Jesus picture that they had hanging in their house and why it was bad. And basically, they took white Jesus down and they put up black Jesus. Then, okay, so let me talk about that white Jesus for a minute, because that white Jesus, like, picture was the most printed. Now, remember, we talked about how Frederick Douglass was the most photographed black person in the 1800s. This white Jesus picture was the most reprinted picture, or painting of this century. And it was because they printed out a bunch of them when the GIs were going off to war, so they would have a picture of Jesus with them when they went off to war. So everybody had this picture of Jesus. And it was painted by this weird um guy, like a white guy in a weird cult, basically, in like Minnesota or something like that. And it wasn't based on any reality. He just literally just painted a picture and said it was Jesus. Not based on nothing. So the people who are like, oh, that's Cesare Borgia, that's not true either. That's not what he used. He literally just based it off of like some, probably people that he saw in whatever white state he was in, because they were all white. That's just what they look like. That's what he based it off of. It wasn't based off of anything. And people have just been like, again, telling the lie of, oh, it's Cesare Borgia, and also telling the lie of, that's Jesus, and not even like considering that this was one artist's rendition of this picture. And the reason why everyone had this picture is because they gave it to all the people who were going overseas to go to war. Like, that's the reason why they had it. Like, nobody has ever put this story together and told it in a cohesive manner. But when you see that episode, you know that, hey, something is wrong here. Like, why do these black people got this picture of this white Jesus? Where did this picture come from? And that's what they asked. Hey, where'd you get that picture from? In the whole 70s way of talking. It's like, well, this is that, and you can't take Jesus from me and all of this stuff. Like, come on, man. We got to like Jesus should reflect who we are on the inside. So that means he could look like us on the outside. And it's different. There's multiple layers of Jesus, and there's multiple Jesuses walking around here. So it doesn't really matter. You guys gotta like focus on like the lesson of what's being told, and not like the image of it. And that's literally like the moral. There were morals, like, okay. There were morals, there were lessons being
Yes,
told in
right,
these TV
right.
shows. Not anymore. They took all of that, the moral of the story. Yes,
Mm.
it was the moral of the story that has been. Look at what they did to Cosby. Like, the Cosby Show was a staple in the black community. It taught morals like you have never been taught morals
Yeah, they
before through the
decapitated him.
experience. They decapitated him. Yeah, They took him out.
Wasn't he the uncle? The uncle, the uncle of.
No, in the Cosby Show. No, not Philip Avery. That he was in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'm talking about the Cosby Show.
But wasn't he seen as like the uncle of black people, or like, so there was some term that he had?
Um
Cosby.
Uncle Bill, because they have Little Bill, which is based on Bill Cosby. But yeah, he was like he's like everybody's uncle. Yes, he was like the uncle. The uncle or the father, really.
So what was the name of that show you said? The one that you were talking about with the GIs, the Family Matters?
Oh, it's called Good Times.
Okay, Good Times. Because what I mean, so like, okay, so you said it's a family that a poor family that stays together.
Yes.
That's kind of the main basis, right?
Yes, the main basis of the show is the family always pull together to resolve the issues. So for example, they had a mother, the mother didn't work, okay? The father worked, but the father, he always had problems like at jobs. He would get fired, he would go, they would blame him for stuff. So it's like he was doing the best that he could, but there was always an issue. And so then the rent had to be paid, right? And so they try to go apply for benefits. That didn't work. It's a bunch of it just really followed the experience of a black family trying to navigate this system when everywhere you turn they're basically telling you no, you try to you know for a fact you can't afford to pay rent, so you go and try and get some help for that, and they're like, well, is there a man in the house? Yes, there's a man in the house. Nope, we can't help you. What? Yeah, because if you wanted it, so if the wife, her name was Florida, if she had put him out, right, then the government would have helped her. So it's this whole weird, this is how, this is why I'm, now I'm carefully looking at these, or thinking about these shows and looking at them for if they were true or if they were propaganda, because they were running propaganda too, but it was just a little bit different. So it's like, this is why black people say things were the way that they were, is because of these TV shows. But the TV shows were also sort of propaganda. So you have to be really, as a black person, have to be really careful to parse out the parts that were true, and then to parse out what else was going on that would have made it happen. There was other stuff going on too that's not really addressed. And so it's just a little bit difficult as a non-black person. You guys don't have this problem, but if I say one bad thing about Good Times, oh, I'm going to be crucified. I'm going to be up on that cross on the next day. Good Times is Good Times. You can't be messing around with Good Times. So, but yeah, so they would have rent parties, right? So what happened in the rent party? Then the rent party, they would sell food and charge people $1 and all of this stuff. And so and you just look at the ingenuity amongst the people to get the stuff done. And they did all of this in the 70s with no drugs. There was no JJ was an artist. That's the oldest son. He was an artist, a painter. That's unheard of. And then it was a 2-bedroom apartment. So then it's dang, all these people, 5 people in 2 bedrooms, that seems criminal. If you try to tell people they was going to do that now, they would not even believe it. But that's the way it happened. 5 people, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom in the middle of Chicago in the hood. And so the mother, since she didn't work, she did odd jobs around the building for other people, or cook for people or stuff like that. So it's very how do black people survive when you don't have the capacity to do what any normal person could go out and get a job, but you can't, you couldn't do it if you had, they were always picking on the dad. He would get a job for a day for 1 or 2 episodes, and then they would he would get fired because somebody else did something. They blamed him for something he didn't do. And it was always some drama around him being able to keep a job. It's so to think of to think back on it now, like this was a hugely propagandized show,
Uh-huh. Yep.
but it was actually like encouraging people to look for solutions.
Right.
Like
Right.
where there are no solutions, you can find a solution if you put forth the effort. Because every episode was resolved. It was always done from the highest
Mm.
moral standard. Like if somebody, like I think James, that's the name of the father, if he won some money betting on the horses, the wife would be like, "You need to go and take that money back." Like, what? We need this money to pay the rent and this and that, buy food and all that. No, you can't get money like they was not playing about their morals, man. That's one thing I can say. And so you have to think, if you have a show that is that central to the black community, that is all about morality, who do you think is watching that? So of course they would want to take that show away and replace it with something, or like another good example of this is like Everybody Hates Chris. Like even though I'm not a fan of Chris Rock at all, that show is really good because it shows the morality. Like the morals was like top, like this is his story of his family, right? The morals top of the line, or like the Bernie Mac show, morals top of the line. Like if nobody was in there doing something they wasn't supposed to do, and if they did, it was some trouble to be had. And it wasn't from someone outside of the family; it's from within the family. Listen, we don't do that kind of stuff around here. We do what's right. And you can't be out here doing stuff that's wrong just because you're trying to get some money. You try, like one of the episodes on the Bernie Mac show, the daughter, the not that she wasn't a daughter, she was like like a niece or something, but they were raising these kids because the parents were incapacitated on drugs or whatever. She was having like pool parties at the house when everybody was gone. And so she ended up getting caught because she was doing something she was supposed to do. It was a very high, like, thing that she had to pay because, hey, you can't be doing that. You can't be like throwing parties, without getting permission from adults. That's not allowed. And that she got in trouble for that. She's very, very sneaky. She got in trouble for that. And that's the reason why they took out Bernie Mac. I mean, the same kind of thing. Anybody who was talking about real morality on TV, they literally kneecapped them, and they just tainted their whole legacy with this nonsense stuff. It's terrible. Cause like those girls that were on the Bernie Mac show are like OnlyFans girls now. And it's like he
Oh,
would never have
wow.
allowed that. But they, again, Netflix was carrying the Bernie Mac show. It stopped carrying it. And if the show is not in syndication, these people don't make any money. It's just like the one of the guys from the Cosby Show, he works at Trader Joe's because they stopped carrying the show in syndication, so he couldn't afford, his bills. So now he works at Trader Joe's. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Good Times came from Maude and All in the Family, which are two like
Yeah,
white shows. So because I mean, it seems like what they did, and obviously the way that these systems work is they work across hundreds of years. Like they're not
right,
focusing on the next year, the next 5 years. They're focusing on how do we, and in this case, I believe, is how do we systematically dismantle the black, in this case, family unit, but just in general,
right,
like uh because as we have seen, like the energy of the black community, the individual is very, very powerful, and
right.
clearly in in en masse disconnecting the energy that has disrupted the system profusely. So what
Oh
what I
yeah,
think they did with these types of shows, and this is obviously not just for this specific show, but as you could see with there's they did it with the white people, but is
yeah. Look at
they
Full House. Oh my gosh, deeply moral. And
yes,
they like
right,
Mary Kate and Ashley and all. Oh
they
my God,
destroyed
it's
all
just
of them.
oh,
they
it's
they took
terrible,
them all out. So it's
terrible.
is they set it up to basically say like, this is your place, this is your role.
Right.
Yeah, obviously they caked it in with the morals, but they said like they use the morals to basically hijack the mind of the viewer and say, this is your position, and you got to get
Crazy.
used to it, and you got to
Right.
use the morals, you got to use Jesus, you got to use religion to further confirm the fact that this is your place, this is your
Right.
place, this is your role, this is what you got to deal with, and you're going to deal with it in a moral way. You're not going to rebel, you're not going to you're not going
Right.
to like go against the system. You're just going to be a good boy, and you're just going to fucking listen. And then
And
what did they do? Then as they continued, as time passed, they tried to kneecap these types of shows in terms of like
right.
hijacking the morals. And then the shows that they're pumping out now, or that at least they were, because obviously it doesn't work anymore, is all filth,
Right.
it's all hedonism, it's all just
Yeah.
a destruction of the morals. So it's like they lifted everybody up with the morals, even though they didn't really lift them up, because like, yes, the morals are there, but that was like, when someone, it's like when someone hugs you and then they stab you in the back. Sure, yeah, they're hugging you, but
Right.
you still got stabbed in the fucking back.
Right.
You still got to
Exactly.
deal with the fucking
Exactly.
wound that's now bleeding, but you don't see the wound because you're so focused on the fact that you got hugged. And so
Right.
the last 10, 15 plus years, especially with the rise of Disney Channel, like all this kid programming, was to like bring about. I mean, you look at Nickelodeon, it's a shit fest. Like it's
Yeah.
pedophile like haven there. But so they like undermined the morals that they had presented to the adults, now the parents, um, and then basically like insinuated this hedonism, which did cause a ton of ramifications the last, I would say,
Right.
probably 20 to 30 years. And then the energy's dead. Like they sucked all the energy, they sucked as much energy out as they could, and they created, at least what they did was a very enslaved overall population. Because 20 years from 20
Right.
years ago, 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, it was hell. Like there was no hope.
Yeah.
There was, at least in what I was seeing there, I felt like I was imprisoned in this reality, and there was no way out, there was no light for me anywhere. And then out of nowhere, the last 10 years, but I would say the last 5 years has really intensified, because they sucked all the energy out. So basically God allowed them to quote unquote win. But the issue is, because
Right.
they won, they had no more energy. There was no more energy that they
Right.
could pull from all these different populations. And then
Right.
obviously, because there was no more energy to pull, they were like, oh shit, okay, we got to bring some morals. Oh shit, we got to like do some passion. So they would throw a few bones to
Right.
the population, and those would do well, but everything else was really not, as you said, barely holding on with tape. Holding on, the whole
Right.
system was holding on with
Popsicle
tape.
sticks and tape. And in the black community, it was the Medeification of
Oh
everything. So Tyler
yes,
Perry came
Tyler
in,
Perry.
and
Uh-huh.
because he was doing live shows and with the Medea character, and people would buy the DVDs of the live shows. So I remember in high school, which is 2000, I graduated in 2003. I remember in high school on all our trips, we would be watching those DVDs. So he must have started in like maybe 95, 96 or something. So he was traveling the circuit with his Medea character and putting on these live stage shows and showcasing the talent from that. And when he made the transition from that to that movie he put out, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which was egregious. I mean, totally egregious. That was the nail in the coffin of the black like entertainment community.
Mm.
That was it. Because when that Diary of a Mad Black Woman was so horrible, like morally speaking, like basically it's like, okay, the woman is okay it's as long as the man committed atrocities against her, right? It's okay for her to abuse a man. That's basically what that movie taught.
Wow.
And then you had the rise of like these independent women that don't need
Yeah,
anybody, that
tricking
finger wagging and all
men.
of that. Right. Women wasn't like that before Diary of I mean, they were, but it was very
Yeah, it was
limited.
frowned
Again,
upon.
a whole newest
It was
place.
not
Yeah.
elevated.
It was frowned upon. It was not polite company to be behaving like that.
Mm,
And so once you had that and you saw it on the screen, women were like, "Oh, so we could treat these men how they treat us, huh?" And then you
right.
had what followed that up with um Steve Harvey's stupid book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, or something like that, which was really written by his um drug queen pin wife, Marjorie. For real, she's a
I
queen
mean, Steve
pin.
Harvey, his
Um,
daughter all over the place.
that's not his real daughter though. That's his wife's daughter.
Oh,
He
really?
adopted them. Oh, let me tell. Listen,
Well, that makes a lot of
Steve
sense now because
Harvey
I'm like,
is
how are
a.
you gonna let your daughter be out here, with with Diddy's son? Like, what's going on there? What the fuck is going
Listen,
on there?
listen. Steve Harvey had a wife, okay, and he had children with his first wife. And then Marjorie, again, she's a queen pin. They decided they was gonna run a scam on him. And they called it. The lady calls him Tinder. He was tender, and so they ran a scam on him. So he literally, basically, left his second wife because he already had another wife. Left her, got a second wife, left her for Marjorie, and he chased Marjorie for like 5 or 10 years before he could actually get her. Then when he got her,
Mm.
he put her up in the house and all that stuff. And that's when he adopted her children, gave them his name. Those were her children by all these drug dealers she was
Oh,
married and messing
jeez.
around with. So they don't even know who Lori's father is. They don't know for sure. There's a yeah, no, it's big drama. They just anyway, and so Steve was claiming those kids wasn't taking care of his kids by his other wives at all.
Mm.
Not at all. Just disrespecting them in public and everything, acting like Marjorie was his everything and all this because she was doing some strange things to him in the bedroom. He forsook his whole family because she was
Jeez.
doing some strange things to him in the bedroom. That's what happened. And Steve Harvey is the reason why Bernie Mac is dead. I think he actually had him killed personally because Bernie Mac was funnier than Steve Harvey. And Steve Harvey had a show. It was funny, but Steve Harvey's show stole basically word for word. There's another guy. His name was It was the show was called Hanging with Mr. Cooper. He took his show word for word, basically. So Steve is not really that funny in the black community. This is well known. Steve Harvey's not that funny, and neither is Cedric the Entertainer. Though, and neither is Daryl Hughley. They're funny, but not as funny as Bernie Mac. So Bernie Mac was in Ocean's 12 or something like that. Like Steve Harvey called the studio and said he would do the movie practically for free if they would not put Bernie Mac in there, which is
Wow.
nuts.
Yeah.
They
Ridiculous.
were on the Kings of Comedy together. They were touring all over the country with the Kings of Comedy. Like if you listen to go back and listen to Cat Williams' conversation with Shannon Sharp. He spills a lot of the tea.
Yeah, I watched that one. That
That's
was great. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he goes into this part, but now with this understanding, you could understand a little bit more what he was saying because a lot of what Cat Williams was saying was coded for black people. Like you would only understand if you knew what this kind of stuff. Like especially when it comes to Steve. Like people don't understand that Marjorie is a queen pin, man.
So she a
Obama
freak.
pardoned. No, she drugs, like drugs. She's a drug queen pin. She's a freak too, but she's a drug queen pin.
And so that means what does that mean? Like
She
just
her
like a big
okay.
drug heavy hitter.
Yes,
Mm.
her ex-husband got pardoned by Obama.
Oh
He was in jail
shit.
for life for drugs.
Wow.
in Memphis, moving drugs in Memphis. Lori's father is probably a big drug dealer. This has to do. So remember, Trump went into Memphis to do this thing, right? And they were all, why are they going into Memphis? This and that. Yeah, because Memphis got a huge drug problem. Huge. And Marjorie's at, you notice you haven't seen her. I haven't seen her since the whole Diddy thing. She is gone. I think they robbed Steve and left, but that's neither here.
Well,
We
so
don't
I
know for
just
sure.
checked. So in 2023, she was accused of cheating on him, and
Yeah, she was cheating on him.
probably that was when she started to go away after 2023.
Yeah, yeah, she just. But why did she go away? See, we started calling these people out. Like me, I've always been
Mm,
calling these people out. We started calling these people out, especially Steve for what he did to Bernie. Like we started calling them out, just like Daryl Hughley. He had a whole meltdown because he was getting called out. They tried to see because usually they get these type of entertainers to come out and wrangle black people. Notice when Kamala was running, they didn't have any black people to bring out. They brought out Beyonce, but that was like they brought out Megan Thee Stallion. That's not how it normally works. Normally they can call on a Steve Harvey, a Diddy,
a pastor.
a pastor, but all I already talked about TD Jakes. I mean, these pastors are all in big trouble because of what they've been doing. So like they didn't have anybody they could bring in that was clean. Nobody has. This is why I was talking about having clean hands. Nobody has clean hands. When you're moral, you have clean hands. None of them have clean hands. They're all engaged in this high
Mm.
immorality. So they didn't have anybody they could bring out. And that's the reason why you
So,
end up with a
mhm.
Megan the Boy Horse and Beyonce.
So okay, so having clean hands in this case, what would they use the clean hands for? Like to send the karma to those clean hands?
No, well, when I say you have clean hands, meaning you're a moral person, because if you have okay, let's put it this way. People who are moral can go out and shake hands with people and that will be passed. That energy will be passed along. So as long as they were able to convince people that these black celebrities were actually morally upright, right? Because that's what they say.
Okay,
Basically, that's what
yeah,
they're saying,
right,
that they were morally upright. If as long as they could do that, then you would say, hey, that's a morally upright person. They believe that this person is best for us. I'm gonna take their recommendation.
right,
Because
right,
again,
right.
it's the street cred,
Yep,
right? It's the
yep.
credibility.
Social
But
proof.
since they've the social proof, but since they've lost all their credibility, they don't have no credibility left. They can't. Nobody can vouch for Kamala. Nobody
Yeah,
can vouch
nobody
for
takes any of these people
Joe.
seriously.
No, they don't. Black people are
Mm.
like, nah, we don't, we ain't, we're not, we don't care. That's why Beyonce's tour is all sold out, but it's coming out that they might have been rigging her tours. They, Live Nation and Ticketmaster, they might have been rigging her tours to make them look like they were sold out. Like bringing people in. It was a lot of crazy stuff they was doing. We don't even know yet. That has just basically started to come out. That didn't come out all the way yet, but it's going to have to. It's going to have to come all the way out. Like we all know her tour stops were full, but were they full because they overcharged the people who paid and then a bunch of people just got in for free? It could be. We don't know. Cause I'm like, how can people afford to go to Beyonce concerts? Her tickets were like $900, $1,000, like for a regular seat. I looked at the Sabrina Carpenter because I wanted to take my daughter wanted to go to see Sabrina Carpenter because she was in New York City on her birthday, but I couldn't pull it together. Ariana's going to be down here, so I'm going to try and take her to that. But I looked up the tickets, like even though the nosebleed tickets at Madison Square Garden were like $500, I was like, who has money for this? Are people really
That's
going to these
ridiculous.
shows? Like this is crazy. Like and that's what Kid Rock was basically trying to get them to stop doing this stuff. So because what he was saying about these concert tickets and stuff is that they could charge less for the tickets, but these bots would come in and buy all the cheap tickets and then basically resell them at a higher price. And so they're trying to stop this whole reselling market. Like this resale market is destroying the industry. Like the live music industry. But like I've said before, they don't want people to see live music because live music does something to you. It does something to your heart. You saw that video I sent you with the guy beating his feet. Was he not on his toes like the whole time?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like a very common dance. Like, I mean, like I said, everybody can't do it because you
Yeah,
do have
well,
to be tall
I mean,
and
like
lanky.
you look at all the like the Dougie, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, and
yeah,
obviously black people in general are way better dancers, I would say, than most other races. But like, if you look at their footwork, it's very clear that their ability to move like with this flowing motion is because
right.
they know how to put their weight on the front of their feet. Like
Yes.
if you're putting your weight on your heels and you're trying to dance, it ain't gonna work out. It's
No,
not gonna
it doesn't.
flow in the way that it's supposed to flow.
It
And
doesn't.
so it's yeah,
It's
it's very interesting that like it's, you know, I mean, one is this whole Hollywood thing is like and I was sending shots at Hollywood maybe like 3 years ago, but you know, back then like the powers that I had back then, like it takes years to come about. Now,
right.
like as we're
Instant.
talking, yeah, it's instant, and also like it's we are seeing where they're at right now, where
Right.
Netflix is literally having to bring passion. And when
Yep.
and the way to bring the passion has to be through again the morals, because as you
Right.
said, the moral I think you said the morals are like the foundation of the passion. Like
Right.
to have passion, you got to have morals. You can't
Right.
you can't have one and not the other. So in order for these entertainers, for these directors, for these creators to generate the passion, there has to be morals, and these, yeah, these morals tied to the show,
Authenticity.
the movie.
That's a third one. Authenticity. It can't You can't produce an authentic movie or authentic show that is reflective of whatever it is you're trying to do if you don't have morality and passion. Like those three go together.
Mm.
Like you're not gonna have one without the other. Like it just it just
Yeah,
doesn't
the
work like that.
trifecta. I mean, is that
Yeah,
not,
the
you know, is
trifecta.
that not like what is it? God, the Holy Spirit,
Yep,
and
God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Yeah, you got to have all three. Yeah, you have to. It doesn't. It There's no getting around. So like to tie it back to time, like if you want to have this perfect prescience like you're always talking about, that's what you have to be. You have to have the authenticity, you have to have the morality, and that will bring you to passion. And then you
yes,
are
right.
able to be in the past, present, and future all at the same time while you're moving forward. And that's a natural state
Yep,
that we
yep.
can naturally be in. And a lot of I would say a lot of black people kind of do it naturally. So because we do it naturally, they
Mm-hmm.
demonize it and
Yes.
say, "Oh no, 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 that's actually wicked. You're not supposed to be able to do that." So they made us separate parts of ourselves out that were never supposed to be separated. Again, jack of all trades, but master of none. It's like, how can you live this life without being a jack of all trades? Like the more I think about how ridiculous the statement is, the more I'm like, wow, they really ran a scam on us, making us believe that we could not be masters of our own life because we like to do different things. Like literally criminalizing us for liking different things is like nasty. It's nasty work.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I think we can end it here. I mean, you know, we kind of touched on time, but I think we'll definitely get to it another time.
Yeah,
But
this was important.
yes.
We were talking about time because we're talking about current events. Like you can't. This is another thing. Like you can't conceptualize the past or the future if you're not paying attention to the present. Like that's the whole
Yes.
part of
Yeah.
it.
Right.
So we can't look at time and say, oh, it's only the past or only the future. We have to look at what's happening right now too and consider
Mm.
its relationship on the spectrum. And
Mm.
so that's what I mean. I think this is working with time because
Yeah.
we
Right.
can see how things are like playing
Yes.
out,
True.
but
True.
people have to reconceptualize what time is for them. Like right now, people are not really, they don't understand time like very well. And so they have to like we have to like reconceptual help them reconceptualize time. And that's really like I think important,
Yeah.
like
And
just
also
moving
we
forward.
Yeah, definitely. And also, Hollywood, like we gotta figure out what we're gonna do with Hollywood because like
Yeah.
they I mean, I'm very surprised by Netflix. Like and obviously, these shows take time. So Netflix have been developing these for probably the last 2, 3 years in terms of like
Yeah, they've
shooting,
been in the
filming, all that.
works.
So
They
so they have seen years ago that they were going on the wrong course
right.
after a few years they finally have the content to start pushing. Like I am very, very impressed with at least the recent shows and movies, but specifically the shows that I have seen. There's another one that's like devil inside me or something. I mean,
Mm.
fantastic.
Yeah, they've probably been holding these scripts for a long time
I
because that's what they do. They buy up the scripts and then they like, oh, we'll get back to this. They table them. The shows might have already been filmed already. They just tabled them
Yeah, right, right.
because
Well,
they do
and
that a
and and
lot.
so, but what I'm noticing is with these shows that I'm seeing, it's literally aligning to us. Like it is making the
Right,
wicked look bad and like calling them out and showing like the goodness in people because that's what the people want.
right,
That's what they
exactly.
want. And as you said, they've been tabling it, but it's like they've been resistant to it because obviously their orders from the system is no, you got to keep these slaves in check. But as we talked about before, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. You can't pay the bills and the lights in these studios and these are like
Right,
someone gonna eat your lunch. And as you said, to be coming
right.
in eating their lunch, so they're already on the down and out. So Netflix had to pick up and say, like, fuck you guys with the programming. We gotta get these out here. We gotta
Because
get these
Tubi
shows
is
out.
free. Because Tubi is free. That's the thing. Netflix, they keep it was $8.
Yeah, they keep
It was
increasing it.
$5. Actually, I remember when it was $5, then six, seven, eight, then a pay tier, a tier with less commercials. It's still gonna cost you
Right.
$10, 12, 13, 14. Like, yeah, they keep raising their prices. Meanwhile, Tubi is free. Oops.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I think what's happening is like is it seems as if it's black people are waking up and this is why they have pulled back their energy, and the following race is going to be the white people because the white people are still they're still in la la land. Like they're still like living in fucking I don't know, they're like they're still very there's something with the white people that like they have not, like they still feeding the bullshit. They
Yeah.
still allowing, especially these like white boomers, like they're as long as they got, their retirement is good, as long as like their house is going well, like stock market going up, like they okay. They don't want to tip no boat because they
Right.
got the dough. They don't want to tip the boat, but
Yeah, we're gonna have to take that
yeah.
from them.
Oh,
That's
it's gonna
all.
happen.
But
I
we're
mean, the
not
boat, the
ready to
boat is
take
gonna
it
be
from them
tipped.
yet.
The boat is gonna be tipped for sure.
Oh, how low do you think Bitcoin is gonna go? Because I see it's down. It was down like 83,000. I was like, holy
Yeah,
goodness.
I mean, I think it might have bottomed out. I mean, I think we're getting close to a temporary bottom. Um,
Which is crazy. From $120,000 to eighty-three
Yeah, I mean,
thousand
people
dollars in a
got
couple of
wrecked.
months.
Like
Yeesh.
big players got wrecked, especially with that. There was a crash October 10th, which I
Right.
mean, it what like anybody that was leveraged long on any positions, like on all these other cryptos, got blown out. They got blown out.
Yeah.
And this goes back to like the crypto space has been littered for years with these greedy, low vibrational peasants that have been able to basically restrain the innovation of the space. And as a result, we don't have any mass adopted products 10 years plus
Right.
into cryptos. Crypto is supposedly it's supposed to be this amazing technology, and we're gonna bank the unbanked. We ain't seen shit. We ain't seen shit
Nope.
from any of these people that have raised, collectively billions upon billions of dollars have been raised in VC funding, and it's going nowhere. Where did it go? To fleece the retail. Now the market has gotten smart and said, no, 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 you're not going to fleece us anymore. And that's why they went to meme coins. But now there's a new transition where all the old elite, they got to get wrecked. And so obviously, like, what we're going to see,
Yeah.
and what we have seen, but what we're going to see the next year plus is insane volatility, like both up and down. Just, I mean, it's always been volatile, but like it's going to be these whiplashes where all these people that are trading these cryptocurrencies are going to be taken out. And because people are so greedy in the space, everybody's going to trade. Everybody's trading. Everybody's leverage trading. Everybody's trying to
Right.
make it back to where their all-time high portfolios were at. And so everybody is getting initiated spiritually in crypto now more than ever. And that obviously means that all these misaligned betas, basically, that got no alpha, they're all getting taken out because they got to learn. They got to learn who to serve, because they've been
Right.
serving themselves, and their version of serving themselves is, how can I fleece money from retail? And that's just not, it's not going to happen. It's not going to continue to happen.
Right. Right. I was just
Um,
like, I meant to ask you about that. Like, gosh, they say Andrew Tate got wiped out 84 times or something like that. It's like, don't these people know when to just wait? He did a long or something and he got liquidated. I'm like, God dang, these people are just hemorrhaging money.
Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, Andrew Tate has gotten wrecked. Like, he's supposed to be the beacon of what it means to be an alpha man, and everybody, just like, all his comments, it's just, he's a joke now. He's turned into a
Right.
complete joke, which is great, because men should not be, well, I can't even say men, boys should not be looking up to a person like that. So but yeah, thanks. So yeah, as you said, I mean, I think so. I'm gonna look at these TV shows, because like they've been
Oh,
so devious, but their plans, it counteracted. Like it backfired
yeah.
immensely, and now everything that they did is actually momentum for our side. Like it's it's
Exactly.
all.
Because they enshrined the morals. They were trying to make fun of it, basically, especially with Good
Yes.
Times, because the
Uh-huh.
characters are very over the top, but they enshrined the morality. Like, you can't take that away. So that's why they've been literally trying to take it away. But every
Like,
black
bye,
person
Tyler
has seen
Perry.
Good Times. Right, Tyler Perry. His shows are so unmemorable because it wasn't just the movies. Then he had TV shows too around all of his characters in his little universe that he created,
That
and
guy's
all of the
weird.
TV
That's weird.
shows.
That's a
He's
weird guy.
very
That's a
weird.
weird
He's
guy.
very,
Like,
very,
that's the
very
next P
weird. He
Diddy. I'm surprised he ain't come
um
out.
no, he's in trouble. He got sued. That's why you don't hear about him so much
Mm.
anymore, because actually a black person had accused him, a black man, let's be
Yeah, let's
specific,
be
had
honest.
accused him of being right. Let's be honest about what's going on. A black man accused him of sexual impropriety, but now a white man accused him of
Oh,
sexual
nah, that
impropriety.
can't
So
stand.
that's why you have it. Yeah, that can't stand. So now you see the it's he's falling apart. But again, who picked him? Oprah. So it's like, it's different when you're dealing. It also depends on the level of celebrity they're connected to, and the so another interview you should watch if you haven't is the interview that um Shannon Sharpe did with Monique, because they threw Monique under the bus. Oprah and Tyler Perry specifically blackballed her for 10 years in the industry. So she couldn't make movies, she couldn't do anything. They blackballed her for 10 years. Which was awful because of some, again, a very moral person, and it was something that they did to her that she was like, wait, why are y'all doing this? What's going on? And they didn't like that, and they literally blackballed her. She could not get no work in the industry. She had a TV show too that was
These
very
people are just they're just
moral,
so like it's like
thin skinned. They're
and
thin skinned.
yeah, it's like
They
guys,
can't take
like
any criticism. They can't take anybody saying anything about their behavior and their lifestyle that is wrong. And it's all, again, it's all around supporting this weird gay lifestyle or this weird sex lifestyle. When you try to say, like Monique has said to Shannon Sharpe, listen, get you a woman your age. Like she told him, she warned him,
wow.
get you a woman your age. And he's like, well, I like these young women. They can do things to you and this and that. And what happened? He almost lost everything over these young women. Because remember, Shannon Sharpe just got out of a huge scandal. He got kicked out of what is it, NFL, ESPN, whatever show station he was on. He got kicked out of
Oh, he
that.
got
His
taken out.
shows got
Yeah, he
canceled.
got taken
Yeah,
out.
he got, because of these weird women. And so Monique, now mind you, Cat Williams had told him too. Listen, we like in the same age group. Get you somebody your age. Cat Williams told Shannon Sharpe that. He don't want to hear that. Monique told him, hey, stop messing with these young women. Get you a woman your age. And he, nope, I don't want to hear that either. And then right after that, he got taken out
Well,
because they tried to warn
well,
him.
that, but like somebody did not like what Shannon Sharpe was doing because I mean, as you said, like
Oh yeah,
the
that
that
too, for sure.
podcast, especially Cat Williams one, like that was bang 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 bang, just took out all these very
Oh yeah,
powerful black men and women, and obviously
oh yeah,
they're gonna look at Shannon Sharpe and say, oh, okay, let's go hit up one of your girls, let's pay her under the table and have her take you
right.
out. That's what I think
But
happened because
again,
I mean,
that's true.
these,
That's
especially these
true.
young girls, and this girl was an OnlyFans girl, they ain't that bright. They ain't that bright.
They're
And
not.
as long as Shannon Sharpe just keeps paying them enough, that's all they're good. That's like, and obviously the OnlyFans, they're gonna make money off of that. But like a lot of these girls, especially these, and she was white. Was she white? I think she was white.
Yeah, she was
These
white.
white girls,
Yeah, she was white.
they really like they don't be thinking like that. They really don't be thinking like that. They're not that these like these types of girls that I know for sure Shannon Sharpe would be. They're bimbos. Like they don't be thinking
Right.
that smart. But
They're
look how
not deep
smart she moved.
thinkers.
I mean, she must have made a boatload of money in that
50
settlement.
million. 50
50
million.
million.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
fuck. Uh, who
50 million. So,
obviously
but
it's a very powerful lawyer, a law firm that's behind that. So,
yeah,
this is all it's not just her saying, "Oh, I'm going to stick up for myself and do this." No, it was a very
no.
calculated hit on
But
Shannon
again,
Sharpe.
if he had picked a woman his age, would have been a different scenario. He just should.
I don't
Again,
think
when
so. I
you,
mean, yes, maybe, but it would have just been a different character. It would have been some other
well,
accusation. The thing is,
that's
he
true.
went against them. And as if you've seen, if they're willing to
Yeah,
blackball someone like Monique, I mean, these people are evil. They're willing to do whatever
yeah,
it
that's
takes.
true.
And
That's
and
true.
Shannon Sharpe allowed them to be disrespected amongst the black community. I mean, the black community
Right.
ran wild with this. This is similar to
Yes.
I mean, I would say basically kind of like what's his name, the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, getting made
Oh
fun of. So
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
nothing more that these
Drewski.
dark occult people hate more because they're all insecure because they know that they're weak. They know
Right.
that they really ain't got it. They know that they have to scheme and
Right.
manipulate and try to control because they know that those that are of the light effortlessly shine. So to be humiliated is like the worst thing that can happen to them. And they
Right. No,
blamed
you're
it
right.
on Shannon Sharp.
They did. They did. Oh, you're not supposed to let people like that on. You're supposed to edit them and you're supposed to censor them. And he couldn't do that because then he would lose his support amongst black people. And you notice since he did those interviews, he have not like done any that have been bigger than that because those are two of the most authentic people in the black community. And so there's really nowhere to go from there. Like you have to like there's nowhere to go from there because we don't have a lot of authentic people in our community right
Mm.
now. It's very the numbers are very very low, and so something has to be done about that because but all of this stuff is working together. It's just
And
I was
and
like, let me just bring that up.
and also I wonder, like, with Shannon Sharp, like if this was just like, because obviously someone like Shannon Sharp, he probably most likely sleeping with a lot of women. It's I doubt it's just this girl, but like,
Nah, he's old though. He old
okay,
though.
so he's got his main girl.
Yeah, if he was younger,
because
maybe,
because
but these
this
older guys
this
like
was
don't like being with a bunch of women.
because this was like this was not only to take out Shannon Sharp, but this was to make an example out of him and tell all these
Yes.
other black men that you are not safe. You speak out and we're going
Right.
to take all your fucking money. Because I mean that whole
Right.
lawsuit, the settlement, like
It was
it
ridiculous.
was like, what, you're not gonna what's going on here? What, like, you're just gonna be taken down? Like, you ain't gonna put up a fight? Like, you're just gonna, and so obviously you got these
He
rappers, you got
did,
these
but he didn't
athletes.
have a leg. He didn't have a leg to stand on though. That's what he was immoral. If he wasn't
Mm,
immoral, he would have had a leg to stand on. He was immoral, so he didn't have a leg to stand on. You can't
right.
really do that kind of stuff if you are you can't do that stuff if you got
Yeah, right.
skeletons
So
in your
so
closet.
so because we have morality on our side, it allows us to be passionate and stay passionate because
Yes.
what Shannon Sharp did in those episodes is he embraced his passion and he embraced their
Right.
passion. And as a result,
Right.
like, it was things were, I mean, massive. He became a massive overnight hit. That podcast was the one. Everybody that is
I think it
anybody
had
was
12
discussing it.
million views. Like 12 million views. And nobody even talks about the fact that it was Cat Williams who made Shannon look smart.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Shannon
Cat
didn't
Williams is
really
a
do shit. It was
no,
Cat
Cat
Williams that
was
was running the show. Uh-huh.
he made him look really really smart, but it was good marketing for him. So
Right.
it's like, yeah,
So
it's
when
12 million
we
people.
lean into the passion, but we don't have the morality to back it up, the system is going to take us out. Like,
Right.
that's why, as you said, like, we need, the system needs people that have clean hands. But obviously, in
Yep.
order to be a quote unquote elite, you got to get your hands dirty. So they don't got nobody. Don't got nobody to put out there to manage the passion because they know they're gonna burn out. They're gonna get taken
Right.
out by their own system because that it's
Right.
like basically the system they created to control their own elite slaves now is backfiring because they're not able
Right.
to push them with the passion, which is what is the main driver to basically, like, control the masses through their programming, because their own defense mechanism is going to take them out.
Right. And imagine that we're coming in saying, no, 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 we're going to have all three. We're going to be passionate. We're going to be authentic. We're going to have morality. And we're going to be the elite. Like,
Uh-huh.
that is
And we're going to have
unheard
all the
of.
big booty hoes.
And we're going to have the big booty hoes. We don't have to do like Shannon and be acting, all
Acting a
crazy about
fool,
it. No, no,
yeah.
no.
The thing is,
Yeah, that was the
it's
problem.
like, and then that's the thing. It's when you don't have morals and you are surrounded by big booty hoes, you go fucking crazy.
You do. That's why these athletes go
Yeah,
crazy.
that
Look at
they
Cardi
got
B's
like 20.
dad,
They got yes, well, Cardi B's, yes, right.
baby
Baby
father.
father.
Like he's got
He he
Stefan. Like what in
he
the world?
cranking out 3 baby mamas a year, clean. Probably more.
I mean, I think 4 women are pregnant by him right now. She had her baby, but there's 3
See,
more.
I think he's getting paid for this. Like I think he's like I
Well,
think there's
he's
some sort
actually
of
trying to
psyop
fight the
happening.
gay allegations. He had gay
Yeah, that too.
allegations.
But like
So
the
he
thing
was
is,
trying to fight the gay
but the thing is, it's
allegations.
so over the top that it's like, huh? I mean, like, come on, like, is this really happening? Like, there's
I mean,
there's gotta
the
be.
same thing happened with um what's his name? Come on, brain, start working. Lil Wayne. He had 4 women pregnant at the same time too. So
Holy
it's
crap!
not really
Okay,
unheard
so
of. I'm old. I remember it was like, what in the world is going on? Why you got all these women pregnant? So it is a coping mechanism though. It is coping
yeah, he's gay. He's
for
DL for
something
sure.
else. Yes,
He's
yeah, there's some
definitely
gay stuff going on.
right. I mean,
So
all of
there's
the thing is
no doubt
like
about it.
this is how they get their hands dirty. It's you got to be
Right.
part of the club, and like they like this. I mean, at least I think they do. But like regardless, is they all took the shortcut. We did not take the shortcut, and so
Right.
now
We didn't take the shortcut.
as the their whole the system that they built is backfiring on them. They have their hands tied behind their back, as well as they have their feet tied, so
Right.
they can't move. And the only way that
Right.
they can move is to follow our directives, to follow our commands. We can move all over the place. We can do whatever we want.
Right.
Why? Because we got the morals, we got the passion, and what was the other one that you said? The
Authenticity.
authenticity, right? The authenticity drives our um, our passion, our moral passion. So we're out here sending energetic hits like it's nothing. Just boom, because we're so passionate. There's so much energy flowing through us. So we're saying boom, just sending energy to all the different places that require the energy, and they're just looking with their hands tied behind their back, saying, "Oh fuck, we're done."
Well, again, the creator is infinitely creative, and they were lied to and basically believe that the creator couldn't create whatever he wanted. So now we're proof that no, the creator is infinitely creative, and therefore you really don't have, again, you don't have an emotion, because the motion comes from the ability to move in these higher realms of
Mm.
emotion, because morality, authenticity, passion, these are the highest echelon of emotions, and we can move it through there freely. They can't. They put a toe, like look at Larry Summers, a single toe into what open AI, trying to manipulate, weaponize the AI, and he's taken out.
Uh-huh.
Not only him, the whole company, the whole AI industry is about to be bankrupt,
Yep.
basically, so that it can reemerge with the morality, because an immoral person put their pinky toe in there on a board. One person on one board destroyed the whole industry. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that will happen if you have the wrong person inside of your company.
Right.
So now they're seeing this, right? They've got to be
Uh-huh.
making these
Yes.
calculations
Yep.
and saying, "Oh crap, we can't take any risk by having these."
The
And it
old
used to be the
system, the
opposite.
old
Yeah, the
system,
old
heavy
system.
hitters that were like you brought them in and you knew you were good to go. Now you
Right,
bring them in
exactly.
and you're worried about the fucking headache. And the headache
Right,
from all sorts of ways. Larry Summers probably still got that power in terms of, obviously, as you said, like the connections, the social engineering, this, that. The Epstein took him out. Out of
right,
left field, he got taken out. But the thing is, I mean, he stayed around for a while, even after the Epstein. Everyone
right,
knew he was in the Epstein files. No one said
right.
shit. And same
It's
with
just now
Sam
that
Altman. Everyone that knows that Sam Altman molested his sister. That is known. I mean, this is why Microsoft was going to kick him out. What was it, like a year and a half ago? There was a time when people were like, "Oh my gosh, Sam Altman's about to be like like there's discussions that he's going to leave or step down. It was because of the fact that Microsoft found out that he had sexually molested many times his sister. Now, they were able to keep that under wraps. I don't know how I don't know what sacrifice Sam Altman did to stay in power, but he was able to hold on. That
What's the FBX guy? Bankman. That's what they did. They sacrificed Bankman Freed.
Oh, interesting.
What's the
Yeah,
guy? You know what I'm talking
yep, yep,
about?
yep.
The
Yeah,
Bankman
he
guy?
got
I don't know.
sacrificed. Yeah, he got taken out.
Yeah, he got sacrificed. Yeah, that's what happened. They sacrificed him. They were like, oh, we'll sacrifice one tech bro for the other
Yeah,
tech
one
bro.
Sam for
It
the
doesn't
other
work
Sam.
like that. Right, one tech for the other Sam. No, it doesn't work like that. But yeah, that's what they did.
Wow. Okay.
I forgot about that thing with the sister and
Yeah,
all. I
yeah,
remember
that's
hearing that,
and
but
that
I
ain't going
totally
away.
forgot
That
about
is
that.
not going away. That's not, I mean,
That's why Elon hates
Sam Altman
him.
is just he like it's very similar to Sam Bankman-Fried. Like I did not like that guy at all. And back
Right,
then, before he got taken out, like he was on top of the world. Ain't nobody was gonna fucking touch him. He was
right,
untouchable. Untouchable. Similar
right,
with Sam Altman. In many ways, he was untouchable. He not untouchable now. I mean, Google
right.
just released their new, I guess, Gemini update or whatever. Supposedly, it's fucking
Yeah,
fantastic. And OpenAI sweating because the thing is, like, OpenAI has no revenues. No, I mean, barely any revenues.
right,
You know, raised all this a shit ton of money, but they're bleeding monthly a ton of money. Meanwhile, you got Facebook or you got Meta and you got Google
right,
that are behemoths that are making a
right,
ton of money in terms of revenues. They can keep this going for as long as is necessary. OpenAI don't got that. OpenAI don't got that
right,
ability. Same with something like XAI, Elon Musk outfit, like they at least got the
right,
largest social media platform in the world feeding their systems. Feeding their what was
right.
OpenAI got? OpenAI doesn't have shit. Now, I mean, I don't know much about OpenAI. I heard that their technology is good, but like they are being taken out and OpenAI, I think, really was supposed to be the government's poster boy. And Trump was
It
talking about
was.
the whole Stargate deal, right? Stargate, this whole Stargate
Right, I
name,
know.
but this whole deal with Stargate. So the Pentagon probably the system chose OpenAI, Larry Summers, right? They chose
Yep, Larry
OpenAI,
Summers.
and
Mm-hmm.
OpenAI is just they doesn't got the energy. It had the energy to start,
Nope.
but the energy is just not there.
Nope, they can't. So that means the government's not going to be able to control the AI, and the government shouldn't be in. Again, just like I said about with USPS earlier, like the government can't do these things. It's the pawn shops that are really the new banks, and so that's how everything is being systemically removed from the government. All of their power that they usurped improperly is being removed from them, and a lot of things are just going to change, and it's the boomers that are literally holding together this system the way that it is still. Like my friend writes checks to pay her bills. I'm like, why you don't pay online? She was like, no, I'm going to write a check and put it in the mail. I'm like, oh my gosh. Not that she's a boomer, she's not, but it's like, you're writing a check to pay a bill. Like, I didn't even know people still did that. I didn't even know that was still possible. How do you know the check arrives on time? Like, I got questions that need answers. Like, how are you sure the check even arrives on time? You're putting a check in the mail? Like, I can't even wrap my mind around that, honestly. Um, but that's how these people are. These older people, they still move like that, and so you're basically seeing that being like piece by piece removed. And it's not being replaced by something new, it's just being restored to the way that was supposed to work with the additional technology. So that's why I see like a Coinbase or some of these other like platforms, they operate how banks are supposed to operate, but just with technology. So it's not like you're like you have a savings account, you have a checking account, and all of that stuff. Like that's how the bank was supposed to operate. It's just now they're not like there's no what was I talking about earlier that oh if you went to the bank and took out $10,000 or more than that, then the bank manager would know you. They could look your information up and send you Cousin Vinny. Now there's no Cousin Vinny to send because there's so many transactions being processed. You can't even keep up. Like a whale is not even a whale because there's always another bigger whale. Like what you think is a lot of money, the computer is not going to necessarily process that as a lot. There's no limit. Whereas before there were, I mean, when you deal with physical stuff, there's limits. So the introduction of the digital allows the whole process to be unlimited. So if a person sees a transaction, and because the coins have all of these different, prices along with them, if you see a transaction, it doesn't mean anything. Like it allows things to be more moral as long as they don't like prevent people from making withdrawals, which is what they always do. But aside from that, it allows for there to be like morality reintroduced because it's the computers that are saying, hey, we have the records for this. Like that's what the blockchain is supposed to do. It's supposed to keep the records, literally keep the records. And so if you have the blockchain keeping the records, then it doesn't matter if cousin Vinny knows that you have, 1,000 Bitcoin because how's cousin Vinny going to get to your house? You live in Singapore. You know what I mean? You're what is that like where you can mask where you're at and you're remoting
Oh,
in
VPN.
from like yeah, VPN. Like you're VPNing in for onto your account from like Singapore or from Russia. So is cousin Vinny going to come to Russia? Like no. So it makes it much harder for them to use their gang tactics to. And so now that I'm thinking about it from this way, this seems like what the battle is. They want to be able to rob people. And the crypto is removing their capacity to rob people like they used to or intimidate them like they used to.
Right, and I
It's
think,
breaking down the
yeah, and
whole
I think
system.
also like the energy of being a piece of shit, aka a criminal, a
Right,
thug, a this, a that, like it's not, it's going away. It's not like it's not cool,
right,
it's not sexy, it's not profitable. It's a fucking bitch and a half. And this is what's happening like as our energetic state elevates, like these people that be moving in these ways, like it's just it's not even like it's a difficult thing because it's still possible, but it's like the energy makes it so that it's very slow moving. Like it's very it's just it's
right,
too much of a headache to do bad in a reality that is elevating. And that's what's happening with Hollywood. That's I mean that's why the energy is being sapped away from these wicked misaligned structures, infrastructure, and people is not only is the energy being sapped away, but like to do things in a misaligned way is just like it's grinding to a halt. So they can keep, they can keep turning their wheels as much as possible, but they're not moving anywhere. Meanwhile, we barely even turning the wheel and we're already down 10 miles ahead. And they're like, what the fuck is
right,
going on here? Why are we,
right,
what, because before we were turning our fucking wheels like crazy and we were going nowhere. And everybody just laughing at us. Oh, look at the idiot. Look at the fool over there, just working their ass off and they're not doing shit. But they didn't realize
right,
that we were learning how to be able to perform at the highest levels. These
right,
people were they were getting pushed by the system, aka was allowed God was allowing them to just basically take the quote unquote easy route, although ain't nothing easy about what they've done, because that's like, I mean, this is
right.
just I, I can't even imagine the initiations, the parties, like the bullshit that these people have had to endure. Like I feel bad for them. I
Oof.
feel bad for them
I
because
do.
it's
I do
horrible.
feel
It's
bad for them.
horrible what these people have had to undergo in order to be powerful, in order to be, beautiful, in order to be popular, in order to have this
Right,
all this wealth and money. Like it was not worth it. And unfortunately, like now they're having to pay for it. And everyone looks at pictures of them, videos of them, and they all seem like they're having a great time. But if you really are keenly aware of energy, you could just observe their energy, and you realize these people, like, it's like they have no soul. Like, obviously the soul is still there, but
Right.
it's like they've been so broken down that they're just trying to hold themselves together.
Yeah, it's very sad. I mean, I feel bad for them. I always say that. That's why it's like we're not judging them, because the whole thing is, if Shannon was honest, like, about his problem, because it's a character flaw being a 60-some-year-old man being with a 30-year-old. That's a character flaw. So if he was honest about it, like Caroline Levitt is about her man who is like twice her age, and he was honest about it, it would be one thing. But he's not. He wasn't. He not honest, but authentic. Like, accepted. Like, this is just what I like. Like, this is just what it is. Like Caroline, nobody's talking about her because her man is an old man. That's her choice, right? Is her day? You want to do it? It's fine. So she's like, yeah, that's my man. He's old. Okay. Like, is there something else? You got something else to say? Like, no, I guess not. Like, that's how you have to be about it. But when you can be shamed about it, that's when you lose your authenticity. Once your authenticity is gone, you keep the passion and all. It's just you don't have access to it. So that's why you have to accept. Look, this is the way my life is. It's fine with me. No worries, no problems. Like, I'm just gonna, like, get over it. But these people, or like all these DL people, they just don't want to be honest about who they are. I mean, you can't do that. If you like who you love, but love them out loud. Don't, I'm just gonna be quiet about it. Nah, you can't do that. Love is loud. So if you're trying to love them quietly, you are engaged in fraud, and you can't get to that higher realm of emotions. But yeah, this is 4 hours. Let's
Holy
let me
cow.
stop talking. We
Okay.
started talking at 10 and it's 2. So let me stop talking.
Yeah, working with time, right?
Right. Like, the time just disappeared. It don't feel like it's been that
No,
long.
no,
That's how
no,
you
it's
know.
interesting. Today,
When
time moved really fast. Like, for
Yeah,
some
time was
reason,
moving real
today, like,
fast.
time just flew because it doesn't seem like it was 4 hours. It felt like it was like an
No.
hour. But
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
this is
No.
a great spaces. Um, Thank you so much as always. We'll have another one Tuesday, and
Yep.
we'll see what the topic is for then. So
Right. Exactly what's happening.
awesome. Thank you, everyone. Hope everyone has a great
All
weekend
right.
and a great night.